I'd like to call to order the meeting for November 18th, 2025. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't want to know. Not mine.
All right. Let me see. Any public comments or
Roll call.
I'm sorry. Roll call.
Mayor Kurzman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burrill?
Here.
Commissioner Fender?
Here.
Commissioner Mayfield?
Here.
Commissioner Titicus?
Here.
We have a quorum, Mayor.
All right, we're going to proclamations and presentations. Swearing in of Officer Jorge Menendez.
Good evening. Today, I have the honor of conducting the ceremonial swearing in of our newest officer, George Mendez. This moment marks the start of his role here in Sewell's Point, and we hope it also marks the beginning of a long, rewarding journey of service, integrity, and commitment to our town. George Mendez is a native Floridian who grew up right here on the Treasure Coast. He went to high school in Martin County, attended a police academy in Fort Pierce, and went on to earn his associate's degree in criminal justice from Indian River State College. Officer Mendez has 5 years of law enforcement experience, along with extensive specialized training in traffic enforcement. That kind of background is a real asset, and we're genuinely excited to welcome him to Sewell's Point. His knowledge and experience will make a meaningful difference in keeping our community safe. Officers are asked to show strength in tough moments and compassion when people need it most. Striking that balance is what makes a truly great officer, and I'm confident that Officer Mendez brings exactly that kind of character and dedication. I'm also confident that his actions will reflect the highest standards of justice, professionalism, and humanity in our community. I'm now going to be swearing in Officer Mendez, and then we'll have his family member go ahead and pin his badge in on. Would you like to come forward? Oh, he can come too. Bring the whole family. Okay. It's okay. You want to come on up? I'm good. All right. We're going to be administering 2 oaths today. The first is the oath of office taken by all police officers, affirming their commitment to faithfully perform their duties and uphold the law. The second is the loyalty oath as required by Florida Statute 876.05, which must be taken by all individuals employed in positions funded by public funds. If you would raise your right hand, please. I
George Mendez,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will, during my continuance in office,
during my continuance in office,
to the best of my skill
to the best of my skill
and ability, faithfully discharge all duties
all duties
which may be required of me,
which may be required of me,
and that
and that
I will,
I will,
in all cases,
in all cases,
conform to the ordinances
conform to the ordinances
of the town of Sewell's Point
of the town of Sewell's Point
and its police
and
regulations.
its police regulations.
I will, without partiality,
I will, without partiality,
faithfully enforce
faithfully enforce
the ordinances of the town of Sewell's Point
the ordinances of the town of Sewell's Point
and all laws,
and all laws,
and will uphold
and will uphold
both the Constitution
both the Constitution
of the state of Florida
of the state of Florida
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the United States of America.
of the United States of America.
I,
George Mendez,
a citizen of the state of Florida
a citizen of the state of Florida
and of the United States of America,
and of the United States of America,
and being employed by
and being employed by
or an official of
or an official of
the town of Sewell's Point
the town of Sewell's Point,
and recipient of public funds,
and recipient of public funds,
as such employee or officer,
as such employee or officer,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will
that I will
support the Constitution
support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Florida.
and the state of Florida.
Congratulations. We're glad to have you. Heidi. Oh, we got to get our photographer here.
First and foremost, I want to thank the chief and Lieutenant Wade that's not here right now, and everyone, the mayor, everyone that was involved in the hiring process. I'll try to do my best to uphold everything that town represents and try to do the best I can.
Welcome to our community. All right, public comment. Diane Kimes.
Diane Kimes, 2 Riverview Drive. I could not let the day pass without saying, without voicing our appreciation for the support of the town. We are so excited. I don't want to blow Mr. Capra's information, but, you know, the fact that we got the 134 septics, grinder systems for sewer systems is incredible. We're thrilled. And as I said earlier to Bob, the town manager, that we should make one fee for all residents, whether it's $10,000 or whatever the fee is. It should be uniform across the threshold, because what happened last meeting sort of pitted neighbor against neighbor, and I don't think that was really effective for all of us. And I think that, you know, some are going to come in, you said there was a range of fees for the different systems, but I think the town should set one fee that's uniform for all. And there's many of us that are ready to sign on the dotted line that can be used for collateral or for posting, pledging towards the DEP match. So thank you again. I appreciate your support, and I can rest a lot easier. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you, Diane.
All right, next on the agenda, organizational matters. Town manager?
Yes, you should have the memo in your packet, which basically lays out what our town charter, Article 2, Section 2-33, and that deals with the annual election of the mayor and the vice mayor's position. For those who aren't aware, our mayor's position is not elected by the residents. They're elected by their peers. And so we've had Mayor Kurzman working this last year, and we've had Commissioner Burrell as our vice mayor, so for this year. Unless you see anything different in my presentation that I have here, the mayor should ask for those nominations for both those positions separately. The first one is the mayor's position, and the second one being the vice mayor's position.
All right, the first thing I want to say, it's been a privilege being the mayor of this town for the past year, and an honor. I do not want to be the mayor or vice mayor for personal reasons this upcoming year. So you're going to have a new mayor, whoever that might be. And Commissioner Fender, you had your light on.
Sure, I'll make a motion. I had a couple of calls this week with lots of passion about this particular concept, and I've been doing this for a long time now, so I've been in this little situation maybe 9-10 times at this point. So given where we are along our trajectory of projects and the importance of of the work that the town manager has to do, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Kaya as the next mayor, and I would take the vice mayor if that were also so desired.
I'm going to second that motion, but mostly to discuss, because I had my light on and I wanted to say, because I realized there's a,
Commissioner Mayfield, go right ahead.
yes, and I appreciate the separate voting for mayor and vice mayor. I saw that this morning at the county, and I think that works well to avoid confusion. I was going to say that I would be happy to be mayor. I've said that the past couple of years. I enjoy the position, and would be happy to lead. I also would be happy to be vice mayor with the intention of, hopefully getting mayor the following year, because if there's anyone else that wants to do it, or I don't know if the vice mayor has his intentions yet, so that is where I am. So I appreciate the nomination, Commissioner Fender, and I'd be happy to do it. I also would be just fine with being the vice mayor, so I'd like to hear from my fellow
Sounded like you
commissioners.
seconded the motion, though.
I did,
Okay.
so that we could discuss. I seconded it, and then I started to discuss, so, sorry. I should have waited till you called my light. Sorry about that.
Well, Commissioner Titicus, you had your line.
I was, I understand that Mr. Fender is interested in being the vice mayor. However, I think also Commissioner Brill has been sitting in as a vice mayor for a year, and I think we ought to move Commissioner Brill up with Commissioner Mayfield as the vice mayor, and then next year, Commissioner Mayfield as the mayor. So that's basically where I'm coming from.
Good.
That is fine with me. I'd love to hear from the vice mayor what your desires are.
I'd love to have you as vice mayor.
So that means you want to be mayor, right?
Yep. Okay. If I got elected mayor, that's the way I'd like it. I like working with the vice mayor more than most like to work with the vice mayor.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
just to let you know.
I'd be happy to take on any tasks.
Okay.
Just as long as you keep the sunshine.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think we can
All
do
right.
that.
I have a motion on the floor.
Yes, what needs to be.
So,
All right.
what do we do, make another motion?
So I think we just vote no, right?
Unless you vote yes. My motion stands. I still support you as mayor and me as vice mayor.
I appreciate that, but I also appreciate, unity, so I'm happy with, and I'm saying my intention's clear, like, I really would like to do it the following year. That is my goal. I've been saying for the past couple of years I'd like to do it, so.
The one thing I would ask, whoever is the mayor, I ask that they work cordially and respectfully with the town manager. That means a lot. And that's part of unity on this, and that we're able to, if we're able to do that, that means a lot. I don't like the beat up the town manager that we've had over the past year. I felt that to be not a good thing, and to let whoever it is, I want him to let the manager manage, not to overstep the manager and his decisions, and that means a lot to me, and that kind of hurt me over the past year to see that. I've seen this manager work real hard. I've seen the hardest working staff that I've been as a commissioner by far, and I love the staff we have. And I want to keep everybody intact, and I want to keep the morale high. The morale dipped because what came from the dais, and a lot of this shouldn't happen, and I talked to the employees, and this goes back to faulting the wonderful finance manager we have. We're so fortunate to have somebody like that. We're fortunate to have this town manager. We're fortunate to have our building inspector and the whole staff, and I think this means a lot. And I don't want to have disgruntled employees. I don't want anybody leaving. And I don't want them to fear for their jobs. And that means a lot to me. So whoever takes this position, I want them to work with my town manager, not beat up my town manager. I only want praise on the outside. If there's any faults, anything whenever I talk to the town manager, anything I disagree with, I talk before the meeting. I don't go out here in public and criticize. I'm not going to criticize my town engineer. I'll call him up and I'll question it. And that means a lot. And it shouldn't be a beat-up session, and I don't like that, and that's not how I run my businesses. I've never scolded people when they were out in public, when there were meetings in my business, and I've never done that here on the dais, and I never will. It's not going to happen. And to me, that's just, it's killing morale. And people have said things to me about this, and they go, it's terrible the way he's treated. And I agree. He doesn't deserve it. And we look for things, and sometimes it's far from factual. And, you know, it's sort of like you're telling half a story. Like Robert E. Lee was the greatest American that ever lived in the United States. If you look at some history books, you could say that, but you got to give the whole story. And that's kind of what happens. And that's why Robert E. Lee never became president. Because he wasn't a good person when you look at his history goes. But I want whoever's going to be the mayor, I want him to work hand in hand with my town manager. If they're willing to do that and work with the staff and let the manager manage the employees, not micromanage over the town manager, I'll support that person, whoever it might be. Commissioner Fender?
Just to counter, to add on to that, that is the basis of my motion, by the way. I've also been concerned that we don't degrade into the situations that are happening today in the city of Stewart, and also what I witnessed today at the Martin County Commission, right? I mean, the extent of my tenure for the remainder of my time on this dais is to avoid what has happened at the city of Stewart, right? I mean, there is a campaign that must continue to make sure that the projects that we have going forward continue, and that the support of our staff is intact, and that we look a little bit more unified than we have in the past couple of years. I mean, you know, I've been doing this for 10 years, 12 years now, and we've never been this dysfunctional. And so my nomination, which still stands, I'm happy for you to vote it down, is to elect a staff and a mayor and a vice mayor that will support the town, embolden them, and raise them up rather than beat them down. And if the vote is not 5-0, I don't care. But the leadership of that, of the town needs to be glass half full, not glass half empty. And that is the basis of my nomination, just to clarify.
And, you know, I agree, the projects are very important, the knowledge of the projects to understand. You know, one of the things, I'm just going to explain a little bit more. One of the things that I did, I was constantly out there with the project. I'd be out there talking to Wes minimum once a week. Where do we stand? What's going on? Show me what's been done. And he'll take me around and show me. So these are things that are important. I always want to know where the project stands. I remember it was maybe about 8 months ago, Diane Kimes, who's sitting here, asked me, how far are we along in the project? And I felt stupid, and I said, I think I'm maybe 35%. She goes, you should know. And she's right. And I don't know, they sure don't know, and it's up to me to find out and stay on top of this. And, you know, I was never a person that went up and said, you know, I want sewers, and people know that. It's not a secret. But what happened when I heard what the majority of the people wanted that I spoke with, they want sewers. You know what? I got to deliver what the people want. It's not what I want. I never came up here with an agenda. And, you know, when I got elected, I came in, and I was really trying to push the aerobic system. And it just, I wasn't able to get grants. And that's what had a lot to do with it. And that's where I stand. Go ahead, Commissioner Burrell. I'm Vice Mayor. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, I just want to straighten a few things out before we go any further.
Yes.
Mr. Daniels, do you have a problem working with me?
No, sir, nor do I have a problem working with either of the commissioners.
I'm just, that's my question. You have a problem working with me?
No.
Fine. Okay, so there you go. Has anybody here ever heard me really say, no, I don't want sewers? Or do they hear me say, sewers without assessment? That's my comments. It's always been my comments from day one. I'm going back to 2012. Okay? So, I mean, I don't understand where all of this is coming from. I had a good conversation with Bob this week, and we get along fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
This is the only place we could talk and be in the open. We can't talk
Well, that's
one-on-one on
fine,
the
but
phone
that's
anymore,
fine.
so.
But you know what? Don't bring old stuff up when you're not sure about what's going on right now. Right, that's the whole point. And that's what we shouldn't do. We shouldn't rehash the past like that. We should just go forward.
And I agree with you, Vice
So
Mayor.
that should be the end of it.
Go ahead, Commissioner Mayfield.
Yes, I do, Commissioner Fender and the mayor, I appreciate your comments, and I am with you that I think the town and its residents, which is at the end of the day who we're serving, are best served by people who try hard to work together and compromise. I said those comments today, the county commission, we're best served by people who are working hard together. So you have that vow from me, whatever position. I appreciate Vice Mayor today at the county commission getting up and commenting and pushing for the sewers. That's important. And the fact that 4 of us were united, I think, made a difference. And so I'm appreciative of that. And he wants to be mayor, and I would, like I said, be happy to be vice mayor. So you guys all have my vow as vice mayor. I will do all. And he said he wants to work with the vice mayor, so I'd be happy to do that and fulfill my role the best of my abilities. So I'll vote no.
Are you asking me to rescind my motion?
Yes, rescind your,
All right,
yeah,
my motion is rescinded.
okay.
Okay, roll call.
Well,
Well, there's
no,
nothing to vote on.
There's nothing to vote
Oh,
on.
I'm sorry, we just had nomination. I thought a first and a second for Vice Mayor.
for me, no,
Mayor.
for me, no, I didn't, nobody actually
Oh.
made the motion.
Okay,
So we need a motion for mayor.
yes.
I have my light on, Dave.
Okay, we have a.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we elect Commissioner or Vice Mayor Burrell as the mayor and Commissioner as the mayor and Commissioner Mayfield as the vice mayor. And then as an aside, not part of the motion, I will support Commissioner Mayfield for mayor next year.
I will second.
Roll call.
Vice Mayor Burrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Fender,
Yes.
Commissioner Mayfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Titicus,
Yes.
Mayor Kurzman.
Happy to say yes. Congratulations, Mayor Britt.
Goodbye. Everybody take a seat. Take a chair and move down.
Musical chairs.
Yeah. I'm excited to be vice mayor.
I think we should be playing music during this spot. Hi, Dave.
Hey, how you been?
Here you go, man. There's a lot of stuff.
Mayor, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
It's like when I first became commissioner.
Congratulations.
Different.
Thanks for the nomination.
You're welcome.
Here's a water.
Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Seeing or hearing none, let's move on. Do I get an approval for the agenda?
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll
We have a
second.
motion- We have a motion on the floor. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 You want to call the roll?
Commissioner Fender,
Yes.
Commissioner Titicus,
Yes.
Commissioner Kurzman,
Yes.
Commissioner Burrell, and I
Yes.
apologize.
Mayor.
Mayor Burrell
Yes.
and Vice Mayor Mayfield.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. We want to go over the minutes for September 22nd. Is there anything,
We have to do,
Approval to consent, right?
we already approved the consent agenda.
No,
No, okay, I want an approval of the consent agenda.
I'll move that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
I'd like some discussion, though.
Which I-
I had brought up to Mr. Daniels that November 17th doesn't work for me, so he was going to take a look at some other dates. We're going to be out of the country from the 17th to the 26th.
Oh, good, that's when we should have our meetings.
Well, I suggested that to Bob.
and I declined. If I may, Mayor, the situation is we have especially an election year this November of '26, And by our charter, we have a meeting on the third meeting, or the third Tuesday of the month, like we are tonight, so we can elect the mayor and the vice mayor. And we also have to, another reason why you just wouldn't do that on the second meeting of the second Tuesday of the month is the election is the first Tuesday, and then by the time you get the certifications and everything else done. So I think if we could very easily move it to the first week or just not have the November meeting, we just have the meeting the second week in December. Again, we're not going to be able to facilitate that, but I think it's important that since we know ahead of time, we have the whole commission available to attend. But that's your option on whatever you want to do as commissioners, but we will facilitate that if you say, hey, just get us to, we can all be at one meeting, I'll facilitate it and make sure that we're there, but it might necessitate moving it to December.
Okay, we need a motion for that?
I just need direction, I guess, so
Wait,
by motion would probably be better.
I'm sorry, hold on one second.
That's Vice Mayor.
Yeah, that's
Mayfield
me
now.
now, yeah. So say that again, you're, sorry, I have, new seat, is really
Okay.
confusing me. So you're saying, I'm looking at the meeting dates, you're saying that November 17th, is it the Commissioner Titicus is going to be gone? What was the?
Yes, he's going to be out of town.
Okay,
then
and you said the
basically-
first one is the election, the first Tuesday in November,
Right.
correct? And then what was wrong with the 10th?
Because, number one, you might not have everything certified
Okay.
as to who's sitting here.
Okay.
And because of the election, and that was one of the problems we were running into last year, I think.
Okay.
And it calls for on our charter to have a meeting on the third Tuesday, so you can, for the purpose of electing the mayor and the
Oh,
vice
okay,
mayor.
Okay,
So that's why we had the meeting date tonight, as being the third Tuesday versus our normal second Tuesday of the month.
okay, so you're saying we need to decide whether we keep it or not do one in November?
Right, and have it either the first week, we can move the December meeting, I think, I don't have the dates in front of me, but if you,
December 8th is the first.
December 8th, so that's early in December, and if you all can live with doing that, at least, I think you're all together, at least at this point,
Yes?
for that meeting date.
I mean, it's kind of a long time, October 13th to December 8th, to not have a meeting. Who's saying some?
9th, not the 8th?
Is it Monday?
No.
The 9th is a Tuesday.
Oh, it's wrong in the thing.
Sorry about that.
I would be open to like doing, what about like Tuesday or like Thursday, the 12th or something? I feel like we need, only because, again, that's almost 2 months. But I guess you're saying we can't vote on mayor and vice mayor because it's not the 3rd?
Well, I don't know, I'll let Mr. Tercivia address that, because I don't want to be the bearer of bad news.
Well, as your agenda item that you just voted on talked about, this election shall take place at either the third Tuesday in November or the first regular meeting after that date. So
Okay.
your first regular meeting would be December
8th, or
Eighth.
what, 9th, excuse me. Oh, you're, okay. Okay,
December 8th.
So is it the 8th or the 9th?
The 8th.
It's the 8th.
it's the 8th.
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine, and then if we,
And then the real question is, at some point you want to have a meeting in November, you can always schedule that during the year.
exactly, that's what I was going to say. That's fine if we take it off and then schedule it as needed.
elect a mayor and a vice mayor.
So we'll let that rest until later on?
Well, if you give me the opportunity, I can get with each of you individually, make sure your calendars are clear. Well, if you've already looked at it for the 8th,
We're looking at 2026, right?
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, I'm sorry, it is the 9th.
It is the 9th.
Tuesday, 8th is a Tuesday. 8th is a Tuesday.
okay.
The 9th. Okay, so you're going to talk to each of us?
Well, I think, or if you're ready to make a decision tonight, I think you've got your lights up too. I'll do whatever y'all
Make sure I have
direct
it
me to
clear,
do,
that's all.
so,
Okay,
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
within the code.
okay. we have-
We're talking about a long way off in the future. So I would be, my motion would be just to cancel the November 17th meeting and do as the attorney says and have our election on December 8th. And if in the many months coming up to that point, we decide we need an emergency meeting in the latter half of November, we schedule it at that time. That's my motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second.
Discussion. Yeah, would you be amenable to scheduling now a meeting on the 12th of November, a Thursday?
That's fine. I'm okay with that.
And is that clear for everybody? I mean, we're all here. We all have a calendar in front of us.
Yes, we do.
You just couldn't elect the mayor or vice mayor at that meeting.
Right. But we
We
can
can't.
conduct,
just
Regular-
can't?
you
We
could have your
can't.
regular-
can't do the election, but we can conduct business.
All right. Okay.
So are you amenable to amending your motion, Frank?
Yes, I will amend my motion to changing the date of the meeting from November 17th to November 12th.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. You call the roll?
Commissioner Fender?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mayfield?
Yes.
Commissioner Titicus?
Yes.
Commissioner Kurzman?
Yes.
Mayor Burrell?
Yes. Any discussion about the, I guess we're on the October 14th minutes?
And then you still have the motion to approve the consent agenda, I think, right?
Yes.
we
Yeah.
have that.
Did we-
So moved.
You haven't voted on it yet, sir?
Oh, okay.
Do you want to do the roll
Roll
call?
call.
Vice Mayor Burrell? Or
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mayfield?
Yes.
Commissioner Titicus?
Yes.
Commissioner Kurzman?
Yes.
Mayor Burrell?
Yes.
Commissioner Fender?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Again, do we have any discussion on the minutes for October 14th, or did we do that already and we're passing it over? Yeah,
We did that.
we did that. We're going to see building report.
We already did all the consent
Yeah,
agenda,
we-
so we're going to 2, public hearing ordinance.
It's the driveway drainage ordinance.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, any discussion on this right now? Okay.
If we can have the town attorney read the header into the record, please?
Ordinance number 475-2025 is an ordinance of the town of Sewell Point, Florida, amending Chapter 52, Article 2, Sections 52-23, 52-24, and 52-29, creating regulations for the installation of driveways to include drainage, trenches, and water runoff control, providing for definition, design standards, and enforcement, providing for conflict severability, and an effective date.
Commissioner Titicus.
Yes. The only change that I could see, this was brought before us the last time, was on page 57, under paragraph 5 exemptions, paragraph B was added. And if you remember, this was in, we tabled this at the time because Mr. Croft had brought up an issue, and he said, we have driveways that are flat, and yet at the same time, shouldn't be subject or should be an exempt to that. At that time, Mr. Torcivia had suggested that go back and revise this and put in something about slope and grade. And I don't see how that accomplishes this. And when I read this, what I saw or what I read was that it's going to cost the residents of this town a little bit more money to go and get a drainage plan signed and sealed by a civil engineer. And if you have a flat driveway and you're not running water into the road. So I think we ought to table this until we get some better language, unless you've got another way of addressing it, Mr. Torcivia.
Only a lawyer, not an engineer. I can't figure out slopes and all of that stuff, so. I think that, I'm not sure, Joe, whether you looked at this or Jack looked at this.
Can I comment?
Yes. Sorry, Bob.
Well, that's no problem. I took your comments from this morning when we met, and I did meet with Jack, and it does spell out that the approval process has to go through the town's building official. And I asked Jack, well, what would he do in the case that we brought up with Mr. Kraft, I'm sorry. And he said that it's the slope, which in my memo covers the every 20 feet, it's got to be 1 foot. And the main reason in the building code is you don't want it to slope towards the property. So that's already in the Florida Building Code. To match our code, it would have to slope down but not into the street. And that's the purpose of having the grate, because we had, so I'm not sure when Mr. Kraft's house was built and what year and what building code it was against, but if it slopes it can't slope towards the house. And so it's required to slope away. And so if it's sloping away at a 20-to-1 pitch, which is what's required by the building code, then you have to have a gully. And in that gully is where the drainage would fall. So it catches the water and dissipates it in the ground.
Vice Mayor?
Thank you. Yes, I had the same question as Commissioner Titicus, because I do remember us talking about the slope, and I think I'm picturing it different in my mind, but we have at least 3 or 4 houses I can think of where it actually slopes. Their house is lower than the road. How does this affect them if they want to have a replacement of their existing driveway? There's no way they can get their driveway to slope to the road. So how does this affect those people? Are they like grandfather, how does that work?
Mr. Mayor, can I call our building official up, and he can talk to you about the Florida Building Code, because it can't slope to the house. So as I said, it would slope to a gully, so you'd have one slope coming down from the street and another slope coming down from the house, and in that gully is where the grate would be, but I'll let Jack try to explain that maybe better than I can.
Hi, or good evening. The example that you give, yeah, we do have several right there on Middle Road, actually, that do slope towards the house. The Florida Building Code, though, states that any driveways or anything like that have to slope away from the house. So if you have and these exemptions are for people who are actually saying, hey, I don't want a grate, I don't think I need a grate. Well, obviously, those houses definitely need a grate. Most of them already have it. So I think they would be exempt from the exemption because they already have them. They have to keep the water out of their garage. So more than likely, they have to do something to keep that out. But if you slope the driveway, for instance, say you just had a house that was level with the road, let's just, as an example. Your grade's 0 and your road's at 0. Well, you'll need to pitch the driveway right away from lower than the house, so that the rainwater does not go into the garage. It goes away from the house at a 120 pitch. Well, more than likely, you'll do the same thing with the part of the driveway from the road to a center point, which will make like a swale in a way, but it doesn't have to be a deep one, right? Just something so that you have a negative slope. And in that spot, you would more than likely put the grate across the driveway to collect the rain from both sides of that driveway, and then out towards a collection area. Again, this is for new driveways and new houses. It's not going to be mandatory that anybody that has a driveway retro this unless they go ahead and put in a new driveway. And if they did, they would more than likely want to do this to preserve their house and their belongings.
It just said replacement of existing driveways, and I thought of those houses on Middle Road, and it seemed like there were a lot of,
yeah, a lot of them need to be.
the property line, you need to do this, and you need to do that, and it seemed a bit excessive when they're already, just by design, incentivized to not have it go to their house.
No, and some of those probably should have an engineer look at those too, to try to come up with an idea to keep the water out of the garage or away from the house.
Commissioner Titicus?
Well, yeah, I thought the issue here that Mr. Kraft had raised was the fact that if a driveway's flat and somebody wanted to redo it, would they then be required to put in a drain? And what I'm hearing you say, Jack, is that yes, they would.
Well, it's a hard question to answer unless I see all the facts. Because if you go to a property that you say is level and I go out there and it appears to be level, but then again it does already have a slight pitch, you're going to want the water to go somewhere. So we want it to go to a collection area, not into the street, nor into the house. So we would look at those ones, and we wouldn't necessarily say, you'll have to get an engineer, because I can easily go out there with a level and tell whether it has a 120 pitch or not. And these are for the ones that are like really beyond my expertise to say, you need to have this designed because the water's got to go somewhere, and we don't want it going into the street. We don't want it going into the neighbor's property. We don't want it going in the garage. So we have to figure out something.
I have another question for Mr. So, in your opinion, well, I'd like to know then, where did the wording come from that they have to have a drainage plan signed off by a civil engineer? If somebody comes in and they ask for a permit and say, listen, I want to change from a cement driveway to pavers, and it's a flat driveway,
Right?
where'd that wording come? Did it come from you, or did it come from Mr. Torsivia's office, or did it come from?
I believe it came from Elizabeth, I believe. And it was for those ones that were, I guess you could say, would challenge this to say, I don't need a drainage across my driveway. I have enough pitch. It doesn't need to go anywhere. And I'm okay with that. But you kind of need to have something to back what you're saying, that you don't need it. Why don't you need it? And if it's not obvious to me, well, then you're going to need somebody with some expertise to tell me that it's not needed, other than just a homeowner that doesn't want to say the expense of it or something like that.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Vice Mayor May,
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, I'll go first.
you're up.
Thank you, Jack, because you're shedding light on it, and it makes more sense. And I only have one more question, but I think what you've said kind of answered it. Under exemptions, the first one is with the pervious materials may be exempt upon review and approval by the town engineer. Why is that not you, just because of what you said? Like,
Yeah.
if it's pervious, then why does it have, so will you explain that part?
The part that it would have to go to the engineer?
Yeah.
A lot of these new construction plans, not plans, but sites that we have now are all going to the engineer as a third party.
Okay.
That was part of that new ordinance that went into effect a year ago
Okay.
for all the rainwater control,
Oh, true.
for all the remodels. So that would be part of the remodel permit. And it would be part of their process because they already do it now.
Okay. All right. No, you answered questions, and I feel like this makes sense. So, okay, thank you.
Mayor?
Town Manager?
I was just going to proffer maybe a simple addition of some verbiage. And if you were on page 57, 4B, can I offer up if you add a comma after the on-site collection area and add the sentence or verbiage if required by the building official? So that way, if, like Jack said, he can put the level up and he can see that you got the proper pitch, there's no reason to do anything else. Or if it's an obvious, when you deal with Mr. Kraft's situation, it's obvious because of the length of his property that the water's going to dissipate and he doesn't have to do anything. So, usually in a lot of this, that's left to the discretion of the building official, but this way it's actually in the new ordinance, if you all agree. I mean, again, I'm just throwing it out there if that makes everybody feel more comfortable.
I like it.
Commissioner Tidigas?
Well, then I would make a motion that we adopt this ordinance 47.
I'm sorry, can I cut you short for a second? I had a question for you, Jack. I just never got to ask it. Sorry.
That's all right.
Okay. Let's say you have a right-of-way at the foot of your driveway.
You have
A right-of-way
Okay.
issue where you have cabling going through the front of your driveway,
right?
and you have no room towards the house to put a drain.
Right?
How do we deal with that?
Again, There's no easy answer because almost everyone is going to be a little bit different, but we'd have to address that somehow to say, okay, we'd have to put the grate somewhere else or change the pitch or whatever, but we'd
Yeah, I'm gonna
work
say-
it out.
Let's say there's no place else to put it because you have a drain field on the right side of the driveway,
Yeah,
and you have a whole sprinkler system and everything and cabling going through the left side of the driveway. So what do? You just, is that an exemption?
well, that's one where I'd probably ask for an engineer then to come up with some idea to have the water percolate through maybe the apron or some other type of grate. Or again, that's why I would then ask the engineer to look at it.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Tidigas, sorry to cut you off.
That's okay. I'm making a motion that we accept ordinance 475-25 with an amendment to 4B, that after collection area, comma, if required by the building official, and that we delete paragraph 5B.
I'll second, but I wouldn't vote yes because I want to ask you a question, if that's okay, Commissioner Tidigas?
Yes, go right ahead.
Sure.
And Mayor, it sounds like B is just an exemption for someone that does that, and if they choose to do that, why would we not like that? Like, if someone comes to the building official with an approved site drainage plan, signed and sealed by a civil engineer, showing all the stormwater will be retained on site, why do we not like that?
I don't have a problem liking it. I do have a problem requiring it.
It sounds like it's just an option. Like, if you do that, you don't have to follow this section. Is that correct, Glenn? Yeah, if you do that, you don't have to follow this section. Just like if you have the pervious material, you don't have to follow this section. Everybody else has to follow it.
It's under exemption, so that would exempt them from the requirements of the ordinance.
Correct.
Okay,
So I second it to ask you that, but I think it seems like a nice option for someone. I don't see why we wouldn't, so I'm not going to vote yes on your motion just because of that.
I'll withdraw 5B.
Okay, then I second.
okay. We have a motion and we have a second to approve 475-2025. Roll call?
Commissioner Tidigas?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mayfield?
Yes.
Mayor Kurzman?
Commissioner Kurzman,
Commissioner Kurzman?
yes.
Sorry about that.
Well, you'll always be a mayor.
I will get it under the section. Mayor Burrell?
Yes.
Commissioner Fender?
Yes.
Okay,
Motion passes.
let's go to
Thank you, Jack.
number 3. Okay, there I have some handouts, just so we know what we are looking at. One for Glenn.
Need one for the clerk, too.
Oh, I'm short one.
He's short one. That's okay. I can give mine now.
I'll make a copy.
He's making a copy.
Here. This is from our policy book,
Nice.
which has to do with boards and committees. And how we bring them up and how we appoint people and what these committees actually do. According to this, the committees actually come under the wing of the commission. The attorney for those committees also comes under the wing of the commission. Okay, so I want to make that clear as we go through the next ordinance that we're looking to approve. Don't forget, by approving this, we're taking away from an appointed commission, an appointed committee, and giving it back to the town, especially on the appeal.
Do you want to have the attorney read it? the,
Yeah, he's
read
good.
the thing?
Yeah, I will. I just want to make sure everybody gets a good chance to look at this,
Gotcha.
okay? Since everybody has it in front of them.
Yep.
I'd like town attorney to read the ordinance,
Okay, ordinance,
7425.
thank you. Ordinance number 474-25 is an ordinance of the Town Commission of the Town of Sewell Point, Florida, pertaining to Chapter 82 zoning, Article 2 administration, amending Division 3 Board of Zoning Adjustment by repealing Subdivision 2 administrative review and amending Division 1 generally by adding Section 82-32 appeals of administrative decisions and amending Division 4 administrative variances for setbacks regarding administrative procedures and appeals of administrative decisions, providing for applicability, enforcement, and penalties, providing for severability, repeal of laws and conflict codification, and an effective date.
Do I have a motion?
And I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, no, you know, you're being ill.
Yes, I don't really like this, and I'll explain why. We had the process happen over on Morgan Court. Once again, I'm looking at town money. It cost us at least $15,000 between attorney fees that we had, and it was long and drawn out. And that's, as far as I'm concerned, it's over $15,000 taken as ad valorem taxes. And let them go, instead of appealing, you got a court. Let them go to court. If we made a decision, it goes on, because if it goes the other way, the town can't appeal. So I don't see why it should come as the town having to pay over $15,000. On top of that, the $15,000, we also had to write a check to the person after that, which I think it's a waste of taxpayer money to do this, and I think if there's an appeal, it should come from a judge in the county courts and let them decide that. I don't think we should get into, sometimes what could be a neighbor dispute on language. I don't think anybody is an expert in this, anybody that sits here, because I sure as heck, I kept looking and I asked attorneys, and even they have different opinions on what's going on with this. So I just feel it's something that should not go to be handled by any of our commissions. Let a judge or more like the courts, where you have a judge that looks deeper into this, they could have a bigger source of information, and they'd be a little more familiar with the law. And these are actual lawyers, a lot of these judges that were before they became judges, and I feel at this point, it should not come from the taxpayer dollar of ad valorem taxes. So I'm not going to support it. I feel once the BZA makes a decision, it should be done.
Vice Mayor Mayfield.
Yes, I have my point, but I wanted to ask Commissioner Kurzman a question. So you're saying, because first off, I want to say thank you, Glenn. I believe you wrote this. I found it very edifying, and it explained well, because I was kind of confused at the last meeting. So I think you did a good job on the memo, so I feel like I understand
Give
it.
Elizabeth the props.
Okay, Elizabeth.
I just reviewed it. We talked about it, but she's a better writer than I
Okay, she
am.
did a good job. So Commissioner Kurzman, you're saying, because this is talking about, I mean, it talks about everything, but the appeals are for the administrative variances that are given by the building official. So you're saying that you don't want it to go to any committees, you want it to go straight to a judge if someone wants to appeal the administrative, waiver, I should say, administrative, whatever. You have a term for it.
Waiver.
Okay. So you're saying you want to just, if somebody wants to appeal the administrative waiver that the building official gives, you want it to go straight to the court system? Is that, am I understanding correctly?
Yes, because why you pay over 15,000 of, once again, ad valorem taxes, the taxes we collect, and the first time, you want to go through another 15,000 plus on top of that, we're going to, whatever miscellaneous expense, so it could be even more money. It's just, I don't want to waste attorney fees you take, you get a shot over there, and if it doesn't work out, if you want to go, you go to the next level, and it should be out of the town. It should go to the Morgan County courts.
So is that an option, Glenn, or is that something that can actually even occur?
You have a lot of different options here. So one thing that's unusual is that you have created the BZA to have this particular authority, as opposed to the code board or a magistrate, both of which hear quasi-judicial stuff routinely. So they do that normally.
So the BZA doesn't hear quasi-judicial stuff?
Doesn't normally have, except for this, they have quasi-judicial in the terms of zoning, but this is a little different from them. This is different for everybody, frankly. This is nobody's comfort zone. The dilemma that came up is that when this was created years ago, if you didn't like the BZA decision, if you wanted a second appeal to the court, that's not available anymore.
So I want to interrupt because it took me a while to get this. It's essentially an appeal of the appeal?
Yes.
Because the administrative thing is given, and someone says, I don't like it, and I'm going to go appeal to the BZA, and if they don't like that, then they could have gone to the court, correct?
In the past, they could have, but the state law changed so that that level of appeal is no longer an option. So when you win or lose at the BZA, that's final. Now, if you want to say there's no appeals at all from the building official's decision, that's an option. That, I think, is what Commissioner Kurzman is suggesting. We provided a kind of a menu here of different things. If you want to have an appeal to the BZA and you want it to end there, you can do that.
Okay.
If you want to have an appeal to the BZA and then an appeal to this commission, you could do that. I certainly wouldn't recommend that because for those of you that attended the last one, it was 6 hours long. It was a full-blown hearing. I know some of you were there for parts or all of it. Or you could send it to a board where there's already a court process in place. So if you get a code enforcement board or the code enforcement magistrate makes a decision, there's already appeal to the court. It's contrary to what you're saying, Commissioner Kurzman, because it's giving people several bites of the apple. Instead of saying, here, the building official made a decision, if you don't like it, go to court. It's giving them an intermediate level of an appeal, either to BZA, in which case, done, or to code enforcement board or magistrate, in which case, you can still go to court if you wanted to. So it's really a question of how many levels of appeal do you want to have to a building official decision? And by the way, we now have a second appeal on that particular property. And I met with their lawyer this week.
Town manager?
Yes, I just have a question of the town attorney, if I may. So another option could be you just rescind 82-101.
Without replacing it, yes. If you
Right.
just rescinded because right now your code says there's an appeal to BZA. If you don't want an appeal at all, you just rescind that. And there's no appeal at all.
It just, you don't want to get, I'm sorry. I have my blood pressure, I'm so sorry.
Vice Mayor Mayfield.
I think that was from before. I think I'm good at the moment.
Okay.
I will say I like the idea of some appeal personally, just as a resident. It seems like
I was just hoping you could just review from a high level the process for me. Today, resident comes in, wants to build, or a resident has a dispute with a build that's going on, permit gets submitted, and there's a request for a variance and now a waiver. I'm priming the pump a little bit. I want somebody to take me through the high-level steps, not the detailed steps, to the point where we get to an appeal requirement.
Okay, I'd be more than happy to do that, and if I'm incorrect, I'm sure Mr. Tersivia will straighten me out. But you have two things. You have a variance,
Yeah.
which is something that the BZA grants. There's an application that's filled. Usually, it has to do with maybe putting an air conditioner in the setback area or doing
Stop you there
something.
for one quick clarification. In that description, you just said that the BZA grants a variance.
Yes.
This seeks to change that.
no.
No.
That variance concept still exists, even though we've changed the word to waiver.
Two
no.
different things.
Okay.
different
That's what I'm trying to clarify, just so I understand.
So the waiver is something that's issued by the building official, and say you're 2 inches into the
So
setback
variance still
area.
exists, but it comes from the BZA.
Right,
Waiver exists, comes from the building official.
correct.
Okay.
And the building official also is the only one that has the authority to issue a building permit. Nobody else can issue that. I can't issue that. The BZA can't
Up to
issue that.
now, the concept of waiver exists or does not exist?
It does.
It does exist. So a building permit can grant, a building official can grant the waiver today?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm,
okay.
so,
But just
I haven't built anything in a while.
Just
so-
keep in mind, the waiver itself is a minor adjustment. So like I was using the example, maybe they're 2 inches into the setback on a corner of their house or something like that. He has the authority under the Florida Building Code to grant that. So the process here is if somebody didn't like the fact that he issued a building permit,
Problem with the
thinking
waiver.
that there were, right, problem with the waiver, then they could appeal it. And right now, it's kind of, because of 82-101, it's ancient language, not to, say that it's, bad, but it didn't deal with the fact that you have a town manager. It dealt with putting all the responsibility on the chairperson of the BZA. And,
But the BZA can still grant a variance, right?
right, this has nothing to do
That
with
does
the
not impact
variance.
that in any way.
Right.
Okay.
This just has to do with decisions made by our building official and the town manager even, is covered because I'm an official that's there of the town. And so if somebody doesn't like that, they can appeal my decision.
So if a waiver is granted, does that recipient still have the chance to go back to the BZA for variance?
No.
No, they're two different things.
They're already done two processes.
Right. And again, this ordinance does two very different things.
Right.
The waiver and variance, and maybe we should have made this two different ordinances because they really are two
Sure.
different things. The waiver and ordinance gets confusing because we're all used to the BZA approving a variance as long as you didn't cause the hardship, right? There's a hardship, you didn't cause
There's
it.
6 items that you got to go through.
Yeah, and you got to go through a checklist. There's a few minor things that the building official has the authority to waive, as Bob said. You want to have so many inches out of the setback for an air conditioning, and you just grant the waiver or not grant the waiver. It's pretty, page 40,
65.
page 65. So that's one discussion. That's a discussion that Commissioner Fender's having. The second discussion, which Commissioner Kurzman and Vice Mayor Mayfield are having, were about this administrative decision that's made by either the manager or usually the building official. Is there an appeal process for that? Very different from the variance waiver process. Is there an appeal? Do you appeal it historically in your code? It's been the BZA. I've never seen that here before. This was the first time we ever had that, and I've been a town attorney for over 10 years, 12 years, something like that. So it's rare that this happens. And now you've had two on the same property back to back. After the first one, we just got a second appeal on another decision that was made about a wall. So the idea is, do you want to continue to allow those appeals? Your answer is no. And if you do, the rest of you say, yes, you do want to have an appeal, who's it go to? Does it go to the BZA? Does it go to a magistrate? Does it go to a code board? That's really what's on the menu.
Yeah, just a clarification, you're right, the issue should be bifurcated. In terms of, and I sat on the BZA for 8 years. A number of years ago, the town changed the code to allow the building official to provide a variance for certain circumstances, which are outlined on page 65, paragraph 5. And it's basically minor encroachments, where there was a lot of stuff that was coming to the BZA that it was like, well, we're ruling on 6 inches this way, 3 foot this way, and these were properties that were developed when the codes were different. This was strictly a wording change to change it from variance to waiver. And, and personally, I don't have a problem with that. The second issue is, in terms of an appeal. And I think what's driving this is the fact that, I mean, this has been changed so that it goes to the Code Enforcement Board as opposed to the BZA, because that allows somebody then to take it to circuit court. What occurred with the property at 7 Morgan Circle was that, you know, they appealed the decision of the BZA, and they wanted to appeal to the council or the commission, and Mr. Torresevia, after researching our codes, determined that you can't appeal to the commission. Now, so this was altered to move this over to the Code Enforcement Board, so that the if you're not happy with the decision of the Code Enforcement Board, you can then go to circuit court.
Well said.
Is that,
Well said.
you know? Personally, I agree with Commissioner Mayfield, is that I think that the citizens ought to have the right to an appeal, you know, locally, and if they're not happy with that decision, then they could take it to court, as opposed to bringing it to the commission here. Not that I, you know, think that you wouldn't sit in good judgment of it, but let's move it to a court. I do have some issues with page 63, section 8232. And 8232, you know, I'd like clarification on paragraph C, to where it says that its appeal must be taken within 30 days of the administrative decision. And the 7 Morgan Circle issue, the special magistrate took him 3 weeks to deliver a decision. So does the clock start when they get the formal decision, or does the clock start at the end of the hearing?
Laura, that's a good question. In that case, it was irrelevant because there was no further appeal. I mean, that 30 days never came into play because you can't appeal it to circuit court and you can't appeal it to this board. So
They didn't know that at the time.
right, exactly. I think we all discovered a lot in
Right.
this. So I think it's worth clarifying. If we're going to do that, clarify it's either when the board makes their verbal decision or it's when the order is actually signed. Normally, it's when it's actually signed because you got something in writing to appeal. But I can see the confusion when the board rules on day one, and by the time the order gets circulated and everybody edits it and signs it, you know, the other lawyer gets to see it before it takes a couple of weeks. So if you want it to be clear that that 30 days runs from either point A or point B, maybe we should clarify that.
Okay. And then the other point that I had on this was under paragraph E, we bumped the fee from $750 to $2,000. And, you know, Dave, although Commissioner Kurzman, I understand that this was a lengthy and ran a fair chunk of change, that's an outlier. Normally, you know, the hearings before at least the BZA, and I can speak to that, the meetings last an hour and a half max. I don't know about the Code Enforcement Board. Dr. Farrow sits on the Code Enforcement Board. You know, he could speak to how long those meetings last. But I would say that we should leave the amount of money that somebody has to spend in order to file at the $750 level, because I don't think we want to discourage people from expressing their opinion. And the other thing is that this states that the date and time should be set by the town manager. There is a regular schedule for the Code Enforcement Board and the BZA. I mean, I don't remember whether it's the second or third Wednesday of every month, but there is a regular schedule, so this should reflect it at the next regularly scheduled meeting. And the other thing is the language states a special magistrate or the Code Enforcement Board, And as you know, I am passionate about citizen involvement, and I would strike the special magistrate and leave it to the Code Enforcement Board. I have a lot of faith in our 5 citizens to make an independent and good judgment.
Mayor?
Mr. Kurzman was first. Is that
Okay,
with you?
I'm sorry.
He's been patient over there. He's been very patient.
That's fine.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying with the 2,000 being affordable, but they've already gone it by once with a much lower fee, and I feel bad for what happened in Morgan Court. Mrs. Hooker had to pay over $20,000 in attorney fees, and she wasn't happy with her representation. If you've spoken to her, you'll know that. And she felt like the bill was ran up. And this is something we could also help by basically putting this in a regular court. I just think if this went to a court instead of coming here, I think she could have been more prepared, maybe gotten at the time, before she even got an attorney, she asked me, who should I go to? I go, somebody that specializes in this. Don't go to a jack of all trades. You want a specialist. And once you do that, you'll be all prepared, and you could come in and plead your case. And she asked my opinion. That's what I told her. And then, lo and behold, she's got over $20-some-odd thousand in legal fees. That hurts me to hear that. And then I see the town swallowing at least $15,000. I signed one of those checks for the town also had to cut a, I'm trying to remember the exact amount.
The 500?
The $500 check on that, on top of that. So I'm signing the attorney checks, I'm signing the check for the 500, and it's just like, it put a pin in my stomach, because this is something, because like I said, I looked at it, it was very complex. We have smart citizens, I agree with you 100%, please understand that. But once you go and you're getting something so complex, it belongs in a courtroom, and that's where it should have been, and she could have taken things in a different direction. She might have had a different outcome.
Okay, Vice Mayor Mayfield.
Did you want to speak? You were.
I
He can
wanted
go ahead
to,
if
but
you want.
it's up to the mayor.
You're
So,
next.
You can go first, and maybe you'll help with some of what I'm saying.
The town
Okay.
manager next.
Thank you. If
My pleasure.
if I can direct everybody's attention to the screen, and if you look under C, just want to read this to you. The appeal must be taken within 30 days of the administrative action. That's the action that Jack would take or I would take. So it's 30 days from that period, has nothing to do with the magistrate or any citizen body rendering an opinion. This is for them to appeal a decision. So it's already an appellate decision, you know, because it's going to go to wherever you all want to send it if you choose to do that. That's the appeal. So I just wanted to clarify that, because it's not at an order, 30 days from an order. This is 30 days from the decision that they want to appeal. The next thing is the problem I have with next scheduled meeting is right now, they wanted to continue the case that we're in, and December is usually a month where most people take off. So if you pigeonhole me to having a meeting in December, it might not happen, or we might not have as many of the members of the committee there. My goal is to try to get as many folks, if that's what you all want, to be there as committee members. So right away, if you pigeonhole me on the next scheduled meeting, well, the next scheduled meeting would be the third Thursday of the month, and, it might not happen. But we're going to have a meeting that day because the ordinance directs me to have a meeting that day. So it just takes away any common sense look at trying to get a schedule. And that's the only reason. I'm not trying to control any dates or anything else. I just want to make sure, because the first thing I did when we set the meeting date of the 19th, that meeting date is the regular meeting that the BZA meets on normally. And I had, my staff contact the members of the BZA and see if they were available. They were available, Tyson was available, but then, and once we published the date that this is when we're going to do it, the appellant wasn't available. So, again, I'm not trying to take control over something that, it can be easy, but just look at the reality of, or the actual everyday use of this ordinance, and don't pigeonhole me.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, several things. To Commissioner Tidikis's point about getting rid of the special magistrate, I would suggest, instead of Xing them out, to the town manager's point, at some point we still have to be efficient. That usage of the special magistrate versus the code enforcement board is under A, 8232A. It says whether the appeal is heard by the code enforcement board or the special magistrate is at the discretion of the town, which is kind of vague. We could say, add on something like code enforcement board is first choice, but if he's literally having problems getting people to attend, we need to be efficient at some point, and I don't have a problem with the special magistrate. That's a fair, objective party. So I don't want to completely tie the town's hands to always have to do the code enforcement board, but we could prioritize the code enforcement board. And to the whole general picture, I do like the idea of an appeal of an administrative decision to the code enforcement board, special magistrate, second choice. Also, to your point about clarifying the 30 days administrative decision, I think that the town manager straightened that out, hopefully to your liking. The fee of $2,000 does seem like a steep increase from $750. I do understand trying to recoup costs, maybe something like $1,000 where we're upping it but not so drastically. I agree with the meeting scheduling. That's not really, I don't think we should get so involved with when the meetings are. That really is his job, and I don't want to get too in the weeds of when he's doing the meetings. Then the other thing that, I hope this doesn't add more confusion, I also think maybe this should come back again. I hate to say that, but because there's a lot going on. Page 65, because I thought someone said this couldn't happen, but I read it differently. Under the whole appeals thing in general, it says, an administrative appeal from a decision of the building official may be taken. The administrative appeal may proceed concurrently with the application for a variance before the Board of Zoning Adjustment at the election of the applicant. If proceeding concurrently, the decision on the administrative appeal or on the variance may render the decision on the other moot. That makes it sound like, maybe Glenn, you said this, like if you're appealing your administrative waiver, that we're going to now call it, if you're appealing it, you can also separately go before the BZA and ask for just a straight old-fashioned variance? I found that to be a confusing, I'm not sure.
Can I clarify it?
Yeah, please.
If I may, and I apologize for interrupting, but I think if we're looking at it one-sided, okay, say Jack denies a waiver, okay, or they're waiting for Jack to make a decision. I'm trying to, I guess if he denied it, that would be their appeal then, is to his denial, so I guess it wouldn't, never mind.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no, that's okay. I guess I wasn't clear about that it almost sounded like if they don't get a waiver, they could go to the BZA as a separate thing to try to get an official variance for it from the BZA. That's what that paragraph sounded like to me, and I'm not sure that's the intention. So.
I'll agree with that paragraph. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. And that's why we tried to make it clear in the new language that you kind of, if you go concurrently, then you kind of get one or the other. I mean, I thought the whole paragraph was ridiculous, frankly, from a long time ago, but it's what's been in the code. If you could take the appeal and it can proceed concurrently with the variance, which to me sounds like two different processes, right? Why would you do the choice of one? In court, it's called choice. You make a choice. You can't go down both paths. You choose if you want a variance or you want to make an appeal.
Well, maybe this was because they wanted to give people the option of going before their peers, but since we have that as the appeal to the administrative waiver to go to the code enforcement board, then that's the, I don't know. So maybe we could get rid of it? I don't know. I feel like I need to see it again because I certainly don't, but I had those suggestions before, which Commissioner Tidikis. Okay.
I also want to see it again, but are you suggesting that we extended the date from 30 to 60 or extend the time frame?
No. I was just trying to clarify what.
Why wouldn't you? So that you're not pigeonholed into that time frame to schedule a meeting? The problem
Well, right now there isn't any.
Because the BZA chair was not in town, right? That was the issue.
Right, well,
We
and
needed
some of
more
the
time.
members, weren't, so.
So wouldn't giving more time alleviate that pressure?
It could or it couldn't, it could put us, back a ways. I just, obviously my first choice is trying to do them right when they're scheduled to be done. And, which is the third Thursday right now. But I don't want to really put that in the ordinance because, maybe there's reasons with the appellant where they can't make the third Thursday. And, we try to
So what
accommodate.
alleviates the pressure if it's not extending the date?
Just not putting in the exact date, giving me
Oh,
the
you mean
option like it has in
Not
here.
specifying a time at all?
Right,
Oh.
okay. The 30 days that you referenced, though, under C, that's the amount of time they have to file their appeal.
Right.
So they're actually appealing a decision that's
Which
made.
seems like an incredibly short amount of time to me, but for filing.
Again, that's up to you all.
And then secondarily, just one more point on this, is that we're looking this, there's also two ways to look at this, right? One is the person filing the permit and asking for the variance. And in this case, we're coming at it from the other side of a person who's trying to block the activity, which is how we found ourselves here, right?
Yes. And the 30 days, just so you know, came from the existing ordinance. That's in 82-101. So that was pulled over. But you all can, again, just like anything else in the ordinance, you can change it to however you want it.
I would like more time to socialize this, because I think there's implications here that either I fully don't understand, or I think will have longer lasting impacts to the
Well,
community.
if I can make a suggestion, because I also like the idea of separating the two issues that Mr. Tersivia came up with, not that I want to keep postponing this because we keep re-advertising it, but if we can table it, and then we might even have to bring it back to a first reading and then a second reading again. I don't think
the
this.
same thing, if we could bring back the simple part, the variance waiver part as a separate little ordinance, that should pass
Yes.
easily. And this other one is much more
Are we
complicated.
in such a rush to push this?
That's what I'm saying, what's the
There,
hurry?
there is no rush.
That's
And,
what I mean. So why can't we just get both together?
well, the variance, is it really a cleanup language thing, the variance waiver thing? That's easy. To me, that's not, why not take care of that? Because the language, as you said, when you were on the BZA,
Right.
they changed it to this process, it just never got put in the language.
Could we, sorry, I didn't, could,
Let me get Frank first.
okay.
Couple things. To come back to Commissioner Kurzman's point, I know that the 7 Morgan Circle is seared on everybody's brain because it's fresh, but step back, take a 30,000-foot view in terms of what's a good and fair appeal process for the citizens of the town. So I think there should be something along those lines. Secondly, in terms of the 30-day issue, I stand corrected. I did meet with Mr. Daniels, and he pointed out to me, and I'm getting old, and so I'm getting forgetful, that this was an appeal of the permit that would have been issued by the building official. So I'm okay with that. And then in terms of Commissioner Mayfield's suggestion that move it up to $1,000 as opposed to the $750, I'm okay with that also. And then finally, in terms of paragraph F, the town manager shall, set the next date and time. That's, I'm all right with leaving that in the hands of the town manager. And I like Commissioner Mayfield's suggestion that, the CEB would be prioritized over the special magistrate. And if the CEB is not available or they can't get a quorum, then a special magistrate would be utilized. I think we need to give Mr. Torsivia some direction so that, he doesn't come back with
A menu again.
a menu, right? Come
Really what I
back,
felt like I was coming up column A and column B.
Chinese menu.
Yeah.
You're
Yes.
up. You're up. You had your light?
Oh, I'm just going to point out, too, that before we were having the conversation about when these are scheduled, every time it seems like the lawyers, as bad as we are, or the board members, or the applicants aren't available. Okay, so again, as I mentioned, there's already an appeal of another decision, and we would have had the hearing this week or next week, but they asked for a postponement, and we met, and we're going to postpone until January. So that's not like the town manager's doing it, it's the lawyer's not available, one side's not available. I don't think we need to put that in here, that's just been common practice.
Right.
To Commissioner Fred's question about 30 days for the appeal, that's really common in the law. Almost every place you go, if you lose a jury trial, you have 30 days to appeal. 30 days is kind of burned into every lawyer's head that you better get your appeal done in 30 days.
So I would like,
I
sorry.
will go back to the Vice Mayor.
Yes, I just wanted to say I concur with what Commissioner Titicus said, all the adjustments, and in terms of bringing it back, I would, in an effort to wrap it up, I think that if we're able to, I'd ask Glenn, can we approve right now is this second reading, first reading?
You're going to do first reading.
Even if we just did the waiver part?
Yeah, because the
Okay,
ordinance that you're considering has it all in there.
Okay,
So
that's fair, that's
If it's
fair.
okay, we'll bring back a very simple part, and then this more complicated part is two separate items, and I'll try to synthesize. I'll probably watch this part of the meeting again
okay.
and come up with
No.
what I'm hearing.
Okay, so I like the waiver, the change to waiver, I like Commissioner Titicus's changes, and if you could study Section 82144 appeals, or get rid of it, or give us some suggestion there, because that's the one I found confusing. Other than that, I'm done with this topic.
Can I ask one question? Do all of you want an appeal to go to BZA or the Code Enforcement Board?
I think Code Enforcement Board, because it gives them the option to
Okay,
go to
That's
court.
what I thought I heard, but I wanted to make sure, because I can take, we'll move down that
Is that
path.
fair?
Dave,
On-
except
on
for
that-
you, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
On that-
well, I've got some more questions,
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, this question's actually for Commissioner Titicus. I'm going to ask you, because you have more experience with this than I think you. How many years were you on the BZA?
8.
8? And during that time, how many appeals did you hear about from the people you went to?
In the 8 years, we never had one appeal regarding a permit that was issued. Usually the appeal, or the cases that came before the BZA were people that were looking for a variance from our building code. So in other words, an example, okay? I mean, I'm a prime example, because before I got involved in the BZA, we were building a house, and the town code says that you can't put a pool within 50 feet of the water. I needed a 2-foot variance to be able to put a pool in the backyard. So I went and spoke to my neighbors. I applied for a variance with the Board of Zoning Adjustment, and, and was granted the variance. That's the type of cases that come before. And every time property changes hands, a survey is done on the piece of property. Our codes have changed and our setbacks have changed. And so invariably, there's somebody's coming forward saying, this section of the building is, encroaches in the setback. So we got rid of the minor stuff by what's now in 82-141, and said, okay, building official, if it's, this amount, you don't have to bring it to the BZA. You can turn around and you can grant a variance. All they're doing is changing the wording to a waiver. The other thing was, before we built the house we're in now, the building official at the time had me move the pool pump 6 inches because it was 6 inches into the setback. Now, I could have appealed it, but I didn't. I moved the pool pump. At any rate,
And that's pretty much what I expected. I was always thinking that it was more simpler stuff. That's why when I saw this case coming, I said, oh my God, it's just so, like, I felt that was more complex than anything the BZA has ever seen. And that's why I feel certain cases really need to take the next step up. I think we did more harm than good to the people that live there. And I just feel that a little bit more knowledge on something, it's, just like, we're not going to go out there and, we're volunteers, we could play a softball game, but you're not going to go and face Major League pitching. I mean, it's just different. They're a step above, and they handle this all the time. And I think she would have had a better deal in the courts than going to the BZA, but maybe I'm wrong, but I felt like that from the beginning. Because I just couldn't grasp, and I kept looking at that one incident, and I think this is why we're all talking about this today. But that's just my opinion, so I appreciate the information.
Just on that topic, I'm just concerned about the slippery slope. I'm not sure where we're going here, but I worry that it becomes a death by 1,000 cuts. We allow the building official to give waivers left and right, and at what point do you draw the line? I mean, at some point, that's what the BZA and the Code Enforcement Board are for, right? Every builder is going to come in and ask for a variance or a waiver, and at what point do you say, we've just given away all our setbacks, we've just given away all of our greenway, and it's a nonsensical paranoia, but I'm concerned about where the line in the sand is, because the line in the sand forces the need for a community or a magistrate board to rule on the issue, right?
If I could address Commissioner Fenderson. There are 6 criteria that an applicant has to meet before they will be granted a variance by the Board of Zoning Adjustment. And
You recall what they are, just roughly? Okay, if you don't, I'm just kidding.
no, I don't remember all
6 is a
6.
lot, that's-
Right, and what happened was, I mean, that's always been out there, but when I was on the BZA, we turned around and we said, let's make that wording part of the application process, so that they had to specifically address each of the 6 points. And it was basically, that you needed relief, and the BZA is very careful about trying not to set a precedent, because if you set a precedent, it could carry through the whole town. And the people that I served with on the BZA were excellent. Mrs. Kimes, I don't know if she's still here, she was on the BZA. Howard Priceman, same thing, Ann Schmidt, they were, very careful. And H.B. Barrett, he's the same way.
Did you ever deny him?
Yes.
Okay.
And, I mean, it's hard. We had a lady that came, and she had brought in a set of landscaping plans to Mr. Reisinger, and he told her, he said, you don't need a permit for landscaping plans. Part of the landscaping plan, there was a butterfly structure, okay, that was within the setback. The neighbors complained, and she had spent $15,000 to build this structure, and we told her she had to move it. I mean, tough call. I hated to do it, but at the same time, or we hated to do it, it wasn't a single decision,
Thanks for that.
We all set here? We're going to have a motion. Do we want to direct the attorney to go back and,
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll move that we table this and ask Mr. Torsivi to come back and to break apart section Division 4 administrative variances for setbacks and bring that back as a separate issue, and changing the wording to waivers.
I'll second.
okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Have a roll call. Any discussion? Seeing none.
Commissioner Titicus?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mayfield?
Yes.
Commissioner Kurzman?
Yes.
Mayor Burrell?
Yes.
Commissioner Fender?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Will that be the 9th? Will you have it ready for the 9th meeting?
Yes, and I
December.
appreciate the discussion tonight because it really provides some clarity on where I'm hearing a consensus on these items, so thank you very much. I know this is not an easy topic.
Okay, we go to item number 4. That would be Resolution 996-25.
You got to read it.
No, get my glasses adjusted again.
I was going to have Mariah read the resolution, if that's okay.
Oh,
Yes.
feel free, thank you, give my eyes a break.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission members. Resolution 996-25, resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Sewell Point, Florida, adopting an amendment to the 24-20, should be 5, I do apologize, Scrivener error, fiscal year budget, directing the town manager to take action to the implement budget amendment number 2, and providing for an effective date. Before you is the housekeeping for the fiscal year 25, and there's just a few amendments that we're requesting to be made. The largest one that you'll see there is the 2.5 million. I'd like to explain that just real briefly. Originally, the commission adopted the first budget amendment approving a $2.5 million, transfer to assist the capital fund with cash flow purposes. Doing that, I entered it as a transfer originally, seeing that our monies are not coming back as quickly as we had anticipated with the one granting agency. Talking it over with the auditors and things, it was decided that we should actually put it on the balance sheet so it can carry forward. It will be just in case we do not get our reimbursement in this fiscal year. So that's that adjustment, and you'll see it in the general fund, we're removing it, and in the capital fund, we're removing it. Does not mean that the monies were not transferred. They were transferred, but they were done as a true loan. And on the financial statements, you will see those in, the actual asset and liability section. So just explaining that. And then we have just a minor adjustment to the building fund revenue. The main thing that we did is the insurance for property and liability came in a little bit higher than when we originally first anticipated. I was hoping that was going to be covered by additional revenues. It wasn't. There is fund balance to utilize that, and that's what I'm recommending, that we utilize we increase the reserve that we're utilizing for the year. And that's the main adjustments that we have.
We have a motion.
Yes, I'll move that we approve 99625.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. I see a lot of lights here.
I was going to make the motion, so don't take me out.
I was just going to ask what that increase was. What roughly the amount of the increase?
22,800.
The increase was 22,000?
Yes.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none? Call the roll.
Bender?
Yes.
Mayor Burrell?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mayfield?
Yes.
Commissioner Kurzman?
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, going to the next thing, which would be old business. I guess we want Joe to come up for Mandalay.
Good evening, Commissioners. Joe Capper for the record. So I think the last time we met, we had presented a plan which pretty much talked about how we would try to keep stormwater from coming down Mandalay Road from River Road and getting to into Miss Cindy Lucas' property. And we presented a plan. The cost, I think, was probably close to $80,000, which was more than we budgeted for the project. So I think your direction was to sit down with the contractor, which is, in this case, Cheatham, the contractor that's doing the Phase 3 work. And we talked about things that possibly we could eliminate, and a couple of those things. The plan pretty much shows there's actually close to 2 inlets that fall within the range from River Road to Mrs. Lucas's property. There's actually three locations. And what we did is we placed some weirs in those structures so we could hold water back so that it doesn't get to her property. We put some ditch blocks in the roadside swales that are next to the property. We deepened the swales. Many of these things we did in the original plan also, but we combined some of the work. We put a berm on her property to keep the water from coming off of Mandalay Road and going into her side yard, which ultimately goes into the backyard. One of the things that we changed was in Sewell's Point Road, we put a Waypro valve at the intersection. At the time we did the original plan, we were going to put 2 Waypro valves there, which Waypro valve, what it does is that when there's a flow coming through, we basically can control the flow and stop it, and then when the tide rises or tide lowers, it can let the water go out. So we put in 1 Waypro valve at the intersection of Mandalay Road, and pretty much that accomplished avoiding a second one. We did some work on our side yard, which also included putting in a yard drain and putting in some a pipe there. The best price I've received right now, I still think it's a little high, but the fact of the matter is we've asked the contractor numerous times to lower his prices on things, is $70,000, which is in the budget we originally talked about. So we can go forward with this. He's ready to start working on it. Again, I'm not saying that it won't help the situation, but it would, we tend to do things on these projects, these small ones like this, that kind of help it. But I'll be very honest with you. We are going to get a rainfall event that's going to exceed the benefit of this, is all I'm trying to tell you. It normally happens, and then at that point, we've done the best we can, but there will be a rainfall event that'll exceed water getting there, will exceed and water will ultimately get to her property. She's the lowest lot there. This will help. And again, I don't have a problem going forward with it, but this is, it's a lot of money to spend. I think the biggest benefit we can do here is to do the improvements in River Road, which we have applied for several grants for, and that will keep the water from coming down the road altogether. That'll keep the water from coming down Delano Lane, which ultimately goes into the backyards of those properties. And essentially, we can only do that once we get a grant for it. So, because it's pretty large, it's a pretty large investment. So, anyways, that's where I'm at. I don't know if you have any questions. I did present a plan to Bob. I don't know if you've had a chance to send it to you. I'll have it here of the changes that we made to the project. But again, it's at $70,000 to do all these. And there's a variety of about 10 things that we're doing here to the drainage system to help and try to keep the water from getting into our property. And they're all small little items, okay? They're not just one big item. They're pretty much small items. The biggest cost is the Waypro valve that we have to put into the project. So,
Mr. Kurzman.
Yeah, Joe, would the cost be any cheaper if we were to go to somebody like Sunshine? Are they capable of doing this as well, or Jamie Underground?
Yes, well, let's be honest about it. We're using Sunshine on a project right now, directional drilling. They're pretty buried with getting that done. As you know, today we talked about the short fuses that we have on several projects. It's going to be tough to find contractors that are going to be able to get these projects done. There's a variety of them. We're going to need more than one contractor, and so I don't want to say that we shouldn't get the price. Again, because we do have a number of contractors that we're going to be working with now, because we just have so much to get done. Maybe we'd be better off pricing it with multiple contractors that we'll be using. One of the problems that you have on any of this, the price $70,000, you are exceeding your procurement process. You need to basically go to bid, right? and that's what we're doing here. We're actually negotiating this one with Cheatham, because we actually put this in the Cheatham bid that we did when we did Phase 3, okay? So, so we're able to negotiate once we had it in a bid somewhere. We could put it in one of those other bids, and we could see if we get any better price. Doesn't hurt us to do that. Again, it may come in cheaper. Like I said, there's a lot of little items that we're doing here that, usually makes the price go up. If we had made one big thing, one big structure, putting in pipe and so forth, it may be, we probably would get a little better prices, but a lot of little items that we're doing, because there's not a lot of things we can do. Basically, we just have to keep the water from getting down the road, right? And as you know, it's by natural slope, it's going to go down the road to that area. So that's what we're doing. So do you want me to put it in the bids? Because that's another item I was going to talk about is, based on today's meeting, there's quite a few projects that are going to go to bid here, and I've kind of come up with these schedules. It's a lot of bidding, a lot of, items we have to put together, and a lot of work has to be done during the, we have to be on the ground in January building these projects. It only gives us about 150 days of time to get that work done that we've told the grant agencies we're going to get done. So that's what we need to do. So.
Okay. Thank you, Joe.
Mr. Titigus.
Yeah, I have a question. There, in one Mandalay, adjacent to South Sewell's Point Road, there's a yard drain that is close to the intersection of Mandalay and South Sewell's Point Road. And then there's also a yard drain that is back in the backyard area.
Well, it's a side yard, but you're right. As you go down
Right.
South Sewell's Point Road, yes, you're right, yes.
So
yes.
does this plan include putting in and raising the ground so that it is level with the drain? Because right now, the drain is several inches higher than the ground, which means that the water's got to pool before it can get out the drain.
I can do that. I did not, well, let's say the yard drain that's on the side yard down the road, so let's say
On the south side.
south side, that one there, yes, I'm putting in a new yard drain and I'm lowering that one.
Okay.
That one. The other one, I kind of left where it was, and I put that Waypro valve, and what that does is it controls the water that goes down to the side yard drain,
Yeah,
as well as it
check
goes up river, that also goes up Mandalay. So that will control the water that comes, that goes in and out of that.
But
that
that's
yard.
also higher than the ground, correct?
The one that, there is you are right, there is a pipe with a mitered end, okay, that comes out of that structure, and that goes into the property. I believe that's the pipe you're talking about that's higher than the ground, because it basically holds water. There's ponding right there at the corner,
Right,
but it's in her property.
yeah.
Yes, that one there, I did not, I left the mitered end where it was. I just controlled water going in and out of that area.
Town manager.
Yes, just food for thought for the commission. Number one, there's a lot going on, as you all know. And to do now, we're going to do another bid process and confuse it with a different project. And really, we've already gone through and we did the bid process. And as much as, I don't like spending a lot of money on some of these solutions, but we were back to where the commission had authorized the $70,000, and that's where we're at. The individual that has been before us, Mrs. Lucas, Cindy, has been very patient and trying to get this resolved. Again, I just want you all to understand the process, and if we delay this process until, and it's going to actually delay it after June 30th of 2026, because right now my focus is getting those grinder units in, getting the gravity system in, and getting part of Phase 2 for the resiliency progress done. And because, and that's a lot. And so if we're going to go ahead and make changes now, and, I just think we're adding something else onto the backs of the staff and even to Mr. Capra's staff. I mean, they're working weekends to get the design work done for the 134 connections. And I just want you to think about that before you make a decision that, well, yeah, let's go ahead and rebid it. Thank you.
I just have a question. Speaking of bidding out the other job, Riverview and Rio Vista, is it possible to get the people who did North Sewell's Point in to do that? Or do we have to go through another?
We have to go through another bid
Okay.
process.
Okay, but Jamie Underground was very good in North Sewell's Point, so I wouldn't discount them.
And I've already talked to them.
Okay.
They're definitely interested in bidding, and we certainly are going to, yeah, we have to get more contractors. And Jamie is on the list. So I don't want to, Sunshine tells me they're more than willing to add more crews, but that I don't really believe that yet. I think Jamie Underground is, and there's probably about 2 other contractors. So let me just explain the contracts, okay? The gravity system, that's the one in Rio Vista, okay? That has lining of pipe improvements that have to be done. That's a specialty contractor. We are bidding that as a bid schedule specifically for lining. We may hire 2 contractors to do the lining because there's a number of pipes in Rio Vista. The whole subdivision has pipes in it, right, that need to be lined.
But I thought we were doing grinder systems there.
No, we're doing grinder systems south of there.
The gravity.
Riverview and Rio Vista, or just Riverview?
So Rio Vista is where we're putting the gravity mains. Those are gravity mains already there. We're going to reline the pipes, and we're putting in a lift station in Rio Vista.
Okay.
Okay? That has lining specialty. We may hire 2 contractors. We may hire just 1. And 2, we have a lift station there. That's a specialty contractor. That's a specialty with pumps that you have to order and put in place, and obviously control panels and things like that. So that's the gravity system, okay? There's 2 schedules, and it's in 1 bid. And I think it's important because you were talking about timeframes and scheduling meetings, and I know it was for next year, but we have a pretty tight time frame of bidding this, and it will be bid in December. It's on the street now, okay, for that project. The second project that is actually on the street for bidding is going to be completing Phase 2 stormwater and road raising, and that's in the area of Sewell's Meadows, okay, South Sewell's Point Road, and Oakwood, okay? That money is coming from a resiliency stormwater grant, okay? That's probably almost close to $3 million worth of work there, okay? If not $4 million, okay? So that's quite a bit of work, and that work will probably, we will get a bid from Cheatham Group and Johnson Davis, the people doing the project out here. We may get another contractor. We're obviously going to try to get as many contractors as we can. But that has a deadline also of June 2026, okay? So that's quite a bit of work that has to be done for that project. The project that we received approval on today is the project of grinders. And we're not putting the grinders in, we're just putting the low-pressure mains in front of that. That's the Jamie Underground type of work, okay? Directional drilling. That is Pineapple Lane. We're also doing that in Oakwood. We're doing that in Kingston Court. We're doing that in Palm Road, okay? And Riverview.
That's the 134.
That's the 135, and so you know, it's not just that. We are actually doing Sewell's Meadow. We are actually doing Delano Lane. we were doing River Road because it's a low-pressure force main, and we were able to convince the counties that we wanted to do those areas up there because they were difficult to get gravity sewers to, because we would have put in more lift stations. So that's the reason why we did that. So we basically, everything at that point when we're done with this, everything from Via Lucinda south will have sewers, as well as the lines along here along South Sewell's Point Road from Via Lucinda to Town Hall here and so forth. So we will have, when we're done with that, of course, we'll still have about 250 connections that are in the area here between Town Hall, south of Town Hall, to
Via Lucinda.
Via Lucinda.
Thank you.
Did I confuse y'all? It's a lot of projects. I just want to make sure you know that, and we're going to be bidding them during the week of, currently the way it's planned is, unless we get contractors that ask a lot of questions and want more time, we are bidding them the week before Christmas. So you know.
Joe, one more quick question then. If we do the project on Miss Lucas's property, the way that's in the diagram, how much relief will she get? Would you say 50% less water, or it won't stay as long, it'll drain out quicker? What is the improvement that we're going to be making here? Is it still going to be flooded, but instead of being flooded for 3-4 hours, the water will go away in an hour? How's that going to make a difference?
What we're trying to do with this project is we are trying to hold the water up the hill. In other words, there's a pipe system with exfiltration that's underground, okay?
Yes.
And we are holding water by putting weirs in those structures to hold the water so it stays up the hill from her. So that gets done with actually 2 inlets. Now, remember we have road system, which basically the road system is not the problem. The system that's draining into our property is the yard drain system.
Yeah, it's the yard drain.
The yard drain system. So that's the one we are putting we're putting weir structures in those inlets. And there's actually 3 of them ahead on her before they get to her property. Well, actually one's in front of her property. Okay, so we're basically putting in we're putting in blocks in those structures to hold the water up the hill, and those structures are, between those structures there are exfiltration perforated pipe with rocks. So we want to fill those rock systems up with water. That's what we're doing for that. The second thing is the water does get down the road. Basically there's swales on the side of the road. We're making them deeper swales. In those swale systems, we are putting ditch blocks, okay, so that the water doesn't just go down the road and into her property. We're putting ditch blocks in the swales so the water kind of stair steps down. And then we are putting and then we're making some adjustments to the yard drains that are in her property so that the water gets to the inlets easier. And then the last thing we're doing, I shouldn't say the last thing, is we're putting a ditch block so that the water that's coming off the road that currently goes down, I guess that would be the west side of her property and getting into her backyard, that'll be blocked by a ditch block there. It's basically a berm. We're putting in a berm there. I know this is a lot easier from a picture, but I don't know if you have a picture there or not. But
No, I do, but I always like to see how we're doing this, and now I have a better idea, because
Okay.
I've seen when they inserted the pipes on her property, when they were doing the construction.
yeah.
So what we're doing is raising that pipe that's underneath, in a sense, with block is what you're saying? Or you're adding another pipe?
No, the pipes that's there, we're using the pipes that are there, we're using the structures that are there, but in the structure, we're putting a weir so that the water stays upstream of that structure and fills up the exfiltration pipes that are already there and basically holds the water back from getting to the low-lying area. We're doing that in actually 2 inlets, okay, upstream of our property.
Okay, so the weir is going to...
In those drainage structures.
Yeah, where is the weir going to be in the drain structure?
where it's going to be upstream of the structure, because when the water comes down the pipe that's out there,
Yes.
it's going to hit that weir and it's going to be held back.
Now, the weir, is that's the weir that's in is you going to put it on Mandalay, or you're putting it toward the yard, going the other way up on Sewell's Point Road? The pipe, or is it underground that's going across Sewell's Point Road?
Actually, I'm not doing anything in that direction. I'm doing everything up Mandalay.
Oh, it's on Mandalay, okay.
Right, yeah.
So the water's going to be held up, I understand what you're saying now, so
It's going to be held up towards River Road. That's where we're holding the water back.
Back by where the Colonel is, or Dorian, around there?
Yeah, right, that's right.
Okay.
I didn't go into the median, that's an option we could do, but I didn't think you wanted me to mess with that median at this point. So I didn't fill, like I said, I didn't excavate the median or anything like that.
Mr. Titicus.
Appreciate the explanation. I'd like to make a motion that we move forward the plan presented by Mr. Capper.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have
I'll
a
second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, call the roll.
Commissioner Titicus?
Yes.
Commissioner Kurzman?
Yes.
Commissioner Pender?
Yes.
Mayor Burrell?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mayfield?
No.
Motion passes.
Okay, let's go to 6A. Town manager.
Yes, as most of you probably know and remember, we are in the last year of the collective bargaining agreement with the police officers union, which is the Palm Beach County PBA. They had openers, and after our urging of trying to meet, we had a Zoom meeting where they agreed to the proposals that we submitted. Unfortunately, they couldn't get the membership to ratify those changes until after November 1st. I had mentioned to their bargaining team that if they got it done before November 1st, it would be retroactive to October 1st. And so, therefore, it's before you. They have ratified it now, and the raises will take effect at the start of the next pay period, which is Sunday.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve the memorandum of understanding with the Palm Beach County PBA.
I'll second.
Any comments, any discussion? We have a motion, we have a second, call the roll.
Mayor Burrell?
Yes.
Commissioner Pender?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mayfield?
Yes.
Commissioner Titicus?
Yes.
Commissioner Kurzman?
Yes.
All right, now we go to 6B. Moving right along now.
Yeah, well, at this rate, we'll be done by midnight.
On our way downhill. Okay, 6B.
I know this has my name to it, but it's really a decision that you all make as a body on what boards, if you're going to make any adjustments from where you're at. As usually the county is always asking us if they, what those appointments are. So it's up to the commission if you want to make some modifications to those appointments or keep them the way they are.
Do we have any discussion on this? Mr. Kurzman?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to keep things the way they are unless somebody's not happy with one of their positions or looking for something else.
I'd like to have Frank T. take over my Treasure Coast Council of Local Governments.
I'd be happy to.
Thank you. So he's going to be the primary, I'm going to be the alternate.
So,
So with that modification.
Treasure Coast
that
Council
motion-
of Local Governments.
all right, everything will remain the same then except for Treasurer Council of Local
Coast Council of Local
Local
Governments,
Governments, where Frank T. will be the primary and the mayor will be the alternate. I'd like to make a motion for that.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion, we have a second. Do we have any further discussion? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
Commissioner Kurzman?
Yes.
Commissioner Titicus?
Yes.
Commissioner Pender?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mayfield?
Yes.
Mayor Burrell?
Yes.
Motion passes.
You have your light?
I was going, when Commissioner Kurzman said, does anybody have any changes? I was going to say, last year I was the new guy, and so I took what was there, but I would like to move up to attending one of the meetings because I have a lot of time on my hands.
Too much time.
My wife wants me out of the house.
All right. Now, we have, what do we have here? The Code Enforcement Board and the
No,
BZA, we
actually,
have a
it's
vacancy,
The
correct?
BZA, yes, Mayor, if I may. We did have Howard Priceman, who has been the chairperson for, I think, 8 years, maybe on the board. Or he's been on the board at maybe 8 years. Or
17.
10 years, I think. But anyhow, he is retiring. His term was up in December, as well as 2 other members. We casted the net, advertised, and actually put it in the paper, put it in the website, put it on Constant Contact, and I talked to folks that might be interested or not interested. We were only able to generate 2 of the incumbents that wanted to stay on the board. That's Yara Bashar and H.B. Barrett. In casting the net, Doucette he's an alternate, had stated he would like to move up to a permanent position. So that's pretty much the recommendation, and then we'll post the alternate position. If that's what this commission decides to do, we'll post that and hopefully get some more applications in for the alternate position.
Okay, so,
I believe it's duet.
Duet, I'm sorry.
Duet Price.
I apologize.
So we have H.B. Barrett, Yara Bashur, Mona Leonard, and who's Jay Davies? He's on the list that I have.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but he's not up for reappointment.
Yeah, there's only 3 that are up for reappointment.
So he's still on it?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted, that's what I have, okay.
Same thing with Mona. She's still on.
No.
All right, do I have a motion to approve Duet Price to be appointed to the BZA on a full-time basis?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it, but I would like to ask Mr. Kurzman, or Commissioner Kurzman, to amend his motion to reappoint H.B. Barrett and Yara Bashur. I've had the opportunity to serve with all 3 of them, and they're nice, they're good folks to have on the board.
I would also like to reappoint them as well.
Okay.
Thanks.
So,
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, call the roll. For the BZA.
Yes.
Mayor Burrell?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mayfield?
Yes.
Commissioner Titicus?
Yes.
Commissioner Kurzman?
yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, now we have the Code Enforcement Board.
No.
I don't
No.
think we're doing anything
No.
on that. I think we're good.
They don't have any vacancies at
No?
this
Okay.
juncture.
All right, we have a full board there, we're good. All right, motion to approve the Code Enforcement Board as is.
It's not necessary.
None yet. We already just did that.
Done. Okay. I guess we're moving on.
The Heritage Lot.
Let's go to 7, let's go to 7A, the 7,
Mr. Mayor,
right here, okay.
if I may, I think there's a purchasing agreement for the lot that the town owns at 7 Heritage Way. We had several discussions over the last 2 years on sale of the property and even had a meeting out there at the lot. The direction that the commission had previously given me was that not to bring forward any offers unless they were over $600,000. You do have an offer to purchase for $615,000 by Medalist Builders. And there's also a memo in the packet from their Assistant Town Attorney, Elizabeth Layton, on items that she thinks that you all should consider under some of the verbiage that's in the contract. And at that, I'll turn it over to our town attorney, if you have any other comments on those issues.
No, this is really a business decision. You know, do you want to sell the property at this price? And then, you know, in Elizabeth's memo, I can go through them, you know, different suggested revisions, such as towns give quitclaim deeds, not warranty deeds, and brokers' fees should be paid by the other side. But I think she outlined all of those in her memo. And the other question that I just don't remember is, for a while, we had talked about a deed restriction on the tree. And I remember several of us, you know, all went, we were out there, we looked at the tree. Remember, there was some health issues with the tree. So I don't know whether that's something that you still want to have as a deed restriction to preserve. I think it was one of those two trees. I think the one on the east side was kind of in bad shape, but that's just a memory. So that to me was the biggest question, because I just frankly don't remember if you ever decided to not have the deed restriction. I look back at the old agreement you had from almost 2 years ago with the broker, and in that agreement, you wanted a deed restriction to protect the tree. So
I have a lot of lights here. We'll start with Mr. Kurzman.
Yes, I want to bring to the commission's attention, the last lot that sold went for $750,000. It's right next to my lot, and this lot is much nicer that we have here. And I really feel that there's nothing left anymore. We have the only lot that I'm aware of that's for sale that is not a waterfront lot. There's nothing available, and they're not making anymore. And after this, it's tear downs if you want to do this. And I hate to give the property up for under market, and I feel it's under market. The market's coming back, interest rates are going down, so you're going to see more activity. I'm not happy about, this is one of our assets. I'd like them to come back at $750,000, which is what the lot that's not as appealing just sold for, and that's in a better location over here. It's more beautified, and I feel strong about not selling it for that price. I need the town to get every dollar it could possibly get, and this is going back into the kitty if we're going to sell it. Otherwise, it doesn't hurt to hold on to it. We're not in a rush to sell. We're not broke. And I'm going to see what else everybody else has to say, but please, let's not give it away.
Vice Mayor?
I think that was, I'm sorry, that was from before.
Mr. Titicus.
Yeah. The lot's been off the tax rolls for 2 years. And, you know, we've been unsuccessful at selling it. I mean, we had a low ball bid that came in a while back, and we mentioned gave the direction to go, Mr. Daniels, don't bring us anything less than $600,000. So I think basically we ought to put this on the tax rolls and sell it for $600,000. The original reason, I believe, and I wasn't on the commission at the time, that y'all wanted to sell it was to help defray some of the costs on the major road resiliency projects and some of the other projects that we had going on the pike, down the pike, at least in terms of the matching. In terms of the recommendations by Ms. Lenihan, if you look at page 103, paragraph 7 is recommended this paragraph to reflect that it's not assignable. Why? You know, I think that shouldn't be, I mean, it's not necessary. It's not like somebody is selling, you're selling your business, you don't want a competitor to buy it. Mr. Torsivia, you know, dealt with the quitclaim deed. And it says the buyer is paying taxes on the deed. and I'm not sure what taxes she's talking about because it's not on the tax rolls today. So they'll be paying the taxes after they buy the property. And the paragraph 16, to reflect the buyer's deposit only if relief the seller is obligated to provide. When I read the contract, it looked to me like if there's no sale that goes through, we get to keep the money. So I'm not quite sure where that was coming from. Paragraph 17, each party responsible for its own attorney's fees. This deals with breach. And in other words, if the town breached the contract and they sued for performance, then they could recover their attorney's fees. If they breached the contract and we sued, we could recover our attorney's fees. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, that's just standard business practices, at least in my experience. We do already have a survey of the property and an AutoCAD, so it's no easy to, it's easy enough to turn that over to them. And in terms of the broker fees, I mean, part of the arrangement was that they want the broker fees. We're looking at $12,300. That means that the town would net $602,700. So I think that, we ought to move forward with this sale. In terms of the tree and the deed restriction, y'all went out there one night. I remember Mr. Daniels took the entire commission out to take a look at the tree, and y'all pronounced it dead, said it could come down, because Ms. Bashur had pointed out to the fact that there was only 1,600 square feet buildable area, and it made the lot unmarketable. So I think that, and I thought at that time that you had pulled the restriction on the deed saying that the tree had to stay up. I haven't gone back and researched the ordinances or.
You did.
You did, okay. So that's
Well,
not.
the commission did.
Right, the commission did.
Vice Mayor.
That's you.
Vice.
Me or?
Yeah, that's you.
You're the vice
I don't think I'm not sure I pressed my button, but I would,
Oh, he's looking, what it is, Vinnie, you see Mayfield's over here,
Yeah.
that's my button.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
why you keep
that's right.
saying.
I'm sorry.
That's, I know what you meant, though, but,
I did that twice.
yeah, it's all
You
right.
gotta
You-
change the buttons
You
around,
you could call me Mayfield today, I'll understand.
but you don't have to call me Jones.
But, yeah, the reason why I'm asking, also, this property was also on the market for 2 years. She got her 7. And the market's, it's coming about, and also, I would like to have our building inspector come up. I got a question for him. And you'll understand where I'm going, if you give me a moment. Are you okay?
Yeah, my back, I hurt my back yesterday, but I'm fine.
You want my stick?
You can rent it out.
Yeah.
I was wondering, are you familiar with this builder?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Would you have him, well, with ever problems with this builder, with, or anything?
I'm
No,
not
I'm not going to get
I
into
can't
that.
make any comments on that.
All right, I'm going to drop that then. You go back and sit down.
Thanks, okay.
No, but I suggest that we, from the bottom of my heart, if we don't, we should be able to get $750 for this. I don't even want to entertain a penny less than 7. They're not making any more land. We have it. This is ours. And the next person that wants to build from scratch, they have to come to us. There's no other properties for sale. There's one empty lot in High Point that's not for sale. There's a few in between empty lots, but very few. One was, I think we still have one at Villa Lucinda, but they're gone. They're not for sale. We got it. You want to build a house, you talk to our town manager. And at this point, but I just don't want to cheat the town out of an extra $100,000. And that's what I think we're doing. And like I said, we're not desperate. There's nothing that says we need this money next week, next year, the year after. And I know a lot of residents were begging us not to sell it to begin with, but if I'm going to sell it, I'm getting top dollar. And we have an asset. It's a valuable asset. And, I don't want to sell at yesterday's market price. I want to sell it the market price that's coming in. And I think we're going to do much better. And, and I said, if you stay patient, I mentioned this probably about 8 months ago, maybe a year ago. I said, somebody's going to come in and offer us over 6. There it is. And what's going to happen now, the market's better and there's nothing available. We got it. If you want it, you got to come to us. There's no place else to buy a lot in Sewell's Point unless one of these other people decides to put theirs up for sale. But right now they're paying over $700,000, $800,000 for the tear downs, to tear down a house and to build a house. So why would you sell it that cheap? And it is a nice lot. It's a nice street. I've walked it many times, and I just feel I don't want to let it go for nothing. Or I should say nothing, but under market, and that's what it would be.
Okay, Mr. Fender.
I'm certain that the residents of that street don't want to sell that lot. I've never been passionate about selling it at all. I've never certainly claimed that that oak tree is dead, and I think it's quite resilient. So I'll be voting no, even if I lose. I'm in no passionate hurry to sell that lot. There's a price that, everything has a price, but there's no reason why we want to take bottom dollar for it.
Vice Mayor.
Got it right. When this first started, I was not on board with selling it in the first place, but I said then, and I say now, it makes sense. It's not, ideally, that place would be a park, but it's not in a great spot for a park. I mean, ideally, town property would be utilized more by our residents. So we have these projects. I'm always here saying, I love the project. Let's do the project. So it's important. We need the money. We need to have these things happen. So I see Dave's point also because this hasn't, I could be wrong because I have another life going on, but this hasn't been marketed lately. Didn't we stop doing that? Is that correct?
Well, we have published
I mean,
it.
I know it's on the MLS or whatever, is it?
Well, no, it's not on the MLS anymore. It's on our website.
Right.
And we have
Not professional marketing, let's say it that way.
I think what caught, and I could be wrong, I don't know for sure,
Right.
but we do have it on our bulletin board out front. And
Okay.
I think that's, the gentleman was in on another issue and had asked, I guess, I don't know if he asked Jack or
Right.
just asked me directly, but that's how I believe
Okay.
the conversation started.
Okay. Well, that would be my thing, is I don't feel like it's been professionally marketed for a while, and Dave is correct, everything seems to be going up in price, and because this was never a top priority for myself, I would entertain it at a higher offer. And then on a side note, kind of, Commissioner Titikas, I'm not no expert on real estate contracts, so I'm not saying what you said is wrong, but I would need more, I'd need like the legal counterpart to some of these things that you said. Why are, I would think she put some of these for a reason, so I'd like to hear the other side before I say you're right, because I don't think you're wrong, but I don't know you're right, so. But that's getting ahead of the game.
Mr. Titigas.
Yeah, I think part of the reason why it hadn't been marketed after Ms. Bashir withdrew as the agent on this, nobody else stepped up to the plate.
Correct.
There were no other
You're
real
correct.
estate agents that were interested in representing the town
correct.
on the sale of this. And in terms of, now close your ears, Glenn, because I'm about to disparage the legal profession. But there's two types of attorneys I've run across in the world. They're deal makers and they're deal killers. And the deal killers basically come up with all the reasons to protect their client and why you shouldn't do the deal. The deal makers figure out a way of getting the deal done and at the same time keeping you protected and out of jail. So when I read through this, I just thought that perhaps Ms. Lenahan is rather conservative.
Okay, I mean, that's fair. I just wanted to, so I don't have any, doesn't bother me who the buyer is, assuming the contract is straight and everything's in order. I would just entertain a little bit higher. That's how I will put it.
Did we try and negotiate the broker's fee? on this? Did anybody try and do that, or?
I don't think there's been any negotiations yet. We don't have any direction. And again, as Commissioner Tidica said, these are all business decisions as he went down that list. The only one is they did have a paragraph 16 that talked about specific performance, and we want to just be liable for damages. If we don't close for whatever reason, we refund the deposit, not have them be able to sue us that we have to sell to them. That's the only part that I would suggest that maybe we don't accept your suggestion. But the rest of them, they're all other business calls. But again, if you wanted to provide direction to negotiate, we can negotiate, provide direction to accept. You could provide direction to go back out and see if there's any brokers that are
I
interested.
mean, everybody negotiates brokers' fees.
Or do you want to negotiate the price? I mean, I'm hearing
Either one.
a couple of commissioners saying the price should be higher, one
I was
saying,
just curious if anybody did.
I don't believe there's been any negotiations, right, Bob?
Direction.
No,
Okay.
no,
Ms.
I needed
Scott,
direction from,
And my other question before I go.
Okay.
Is, the builder, should we do any kind of investigation? I mean, I don't know, the way I see smirks here, I'm thinking that maybe there's something that we should look into. But
Yep.
I'll let that lie for now. I'll go to Mr. Kurzman.
Yes. Can we list the lot ourselves on MLS, or do we have to have a Realtor to do that?
you have to have a Realtor for MLS. You can list it on Zillow, or there's a lot of different areas.
If we could just have a Realtor, just to list it for us, and we'll pay him to list it. I don't know if that's possible.
Well, I think,
Just,
if I may, I think you have a contract, okay? You have to decide, do you want to accept this or not? Or do you want to accept this and counteroffer what that price is? Or do you just want to go out and relist the property with a broker or whatever? But, you know, I can't go in 4 different directions, so, you know, that's why I bring it back here. You know, you do have a contract, there's a deposit, it's an escrow, and, you know, if you want a higher price, that's, you know, that's part of the negotiation. If you have a problem with paying the broker's fee, that's part of the negotiation. You know, those are all things that you can work out, but I just need to know which way as a group you want to go.
Can I just clarify my statement? When I brought up marketing, I didn't mean that I wanted to market. I meant that it hadn't been marketed in a while, and things have probably changed. I'm not necessarily, we already did that, we tried it, it didn't work, so I'm not necessarily on board with that.
Town attorney?
it's actually me. Okay.
Commissioner Mayfield.
That's it. Yeah, I was thinking that maybe if we're going to come back, let's come back at 775, because the other one was sold for 750, and this one's nicer. And see what happens. If everybody else is okay with it, I mean, if we're going to sell it, let's sell it for what it's worth.
That 775 seems like a big jump. Right now, we have $50,000 in escrow. We got an offer on the table for 715, you know, or 615. If you're going to bump it up, you know, I mean, why not raise it 10 or 15% as opposed to,
It's undervalued then.
it's all in the eye of the beholder, Dave. You know, what's a market price? A market price is a willing buyer and a willing seller. We have a willing buyer. I guess we don't have a willing seller, at least not with everybody on the
In
commission.
real estate, they go by the neighborhood and also what the last sale was. The last sale for an empty lot was $750,000 on Mandalay. And it's not a pretty lot. I'll tell you that right. It really isn't. If you look at it, you're like, huh? It's not where you want to build your dream home. But somebody paid $750 for it. And I think that's really what it comes down to. I'm passionate on this. I really am on that. I look at the real estate market all the time. I look to see every home that's bought and sold in Sewell's Point. I see what they're asking. I see what it's sold for. I definitely see no reason why we can't get that. Because right now, if you take a brand-new house any brand-new home in Sewell's Point right now, no matter where it is, you're probably going to start at about 2.5. So if some builder were to come in and build a house on this slide, they could probably get 2.5 if you wind up building like maybe a 3,500 square foot home. That's the market right now. It might even be pushing 3 million because there's nothing left. There's nobody else building new homes. There's no other new homes for sale. And I feel it's a smart move for somebody.
Okay. Town attorney.
So the one thing that's a little difficult is, you're having this public discussion, and the buyer could be,
Yeah, listen.
listening to this and saying, okay, I got one guy that wants this, one guy that wants this, one guy. If you're interested in selling the lot, it's probably the first question. If you do, then if you are interested in selling it, then maybe a suggestion would be they just authorize Bob and I to negotiate and bring you back whatever the best we can negotiate, whether it's 615, 775, or somewhere in between. But right now, you have an offer with no negotiation at all. And in my real estate and deal-making experience, usually a person's first offer isn't their final offer.
Right.
You usually can get some more, whether it's 10,000 more or 100,000 more. So if you'd like us to pursue, that's one path. Or, again, I didn't know whether you wanted to market it, I heard, but the
No,
marketing part, right, you didn't want to really market it more, you don't want to go back out there and try to get more bids, but certainly, if people are following, they'll realize that now there is somebody interested. It might spark other interest. Because this is not, there's no, you're not obligated to just take this person. Maybe if somebody else is listening tonight and says, hey, I want to buy that too.
I'm going to join the ranks of Kai and Frank if I can't.
Push your button.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
No, I did mine too.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Now, you two are confused.
I like the attorney's suggestion. I think that makes the most sense, because clearly I think the price should be higher, but because we need the money, and there's a reluctancy to sell, and it is valuable. So I like that idea. I like what Glenn said about number 6, paragraph 16 should be, I take his advice on that to the changes that Elizabeth put in the memo. The one about the return of buyer's deposit is the only relief the seller is obligated to provide, so make sure that's a part of it. I mean, honestly, some of these sound good to me, so
I mean, if we're going to
I
negotiate,
don't
we'll
want to get into
negotiate.
detail.
I mean,
Okay, thank
I don't
you.
just negotiate price. If you're saying let's negotiate, then you look at everything.
Okay.
You try and make a deal.
Exactly, because I'm not a lawyer, this is all a little bit.
Right. But again, if you get 5 different directions, then, if you're going to
Yep.
point somebody to the old General Patton saying, take the hill. I'm not telling you how to take the hill, just take the hill.
So
So you
I'm
go
gonna-
negotiate, we'll go negotiate.
I'm going to wrap this up. Let's wrap this up, and let's come to a decision on what we want the town attorney to do. Do we want to go back on,
All right.
well, Mr. Kurzman is first, so.
Yes, I'm going to join the ranks with Kai and Frank. I'm not passionate about selling it. If I'm going to sell it, there has to be a premium price. I think even if we held on to that property, it would be just fine with our projects. I don't think it's going to matter on that.
Okay, Mr. Titigus.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the town manager and the town attorney to go back to the prospective buyer and negotiate and bring it back to us.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it. I want to clarify that this is part, can I discuss? I should
Yeah,
have, okay.
just-
We get it's kind of like this again, correct? You negotiate and bring it to us, and then we make the decision based on that, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm not making the decision. But I'll bring you the best deal we can get.
Okay, that's
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, give you direction.
Go
Goes
for
to
it.
the town attorney.
You need a
We
vote.
have Frank,
vote.
Need a vote.
oh, yeah, sorry, call the roll.
Vice Mayor Burrell, or Vice Mayor Mayfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Titicus,
Yes.
Commissioner Kurzman,
No.
Commissioner Fender,
No.
Mayor Burrell.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-2.
All right, we have septic to sewer. Commissioner Titigus.
Yes. At the last meeting, the commission had approved going forward with the grinder system at the Rio Vista, and I would like you to consider an equity issue. Those people that are, that sign up for the grinders within the first year, paying $7,000, and after that, $10,000. At least that's the latest letter that I got from Mr. Rapetti. Whereas the Rio Vista Commission, at the meeting last year, approved, there was a customer connection package of $912,000 for the lot, or per lot, which comes out to about $12,000 per lot. But I also would like to read you at the bottom of that, that there were 2 footnotes that it says that construction costs are based on the North Sewell's Point septic sewer and the Giffel-Webster's cost estimate, which were 2022. So there has been an inflation that is not factored into those numbers. So, and then Mr. Capra had said earlier at a previous meeting that we met on the 4th of November that he expected it to be roughly about $14,003 per lot. So what I'm going to suggest, and there's a euphemism here because we had said no mandatory assessments. When you look at the disparity in price, you know, and if you look at the price that, or at least the price breakdown, there's a customer contribution to a lift station, which, you know, walks like a duck, talks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. So it is a mandatory assessment. So I would like to suggest and make a motion that anything above the price quoted for the grinders should be absorbed by the town and taken out of the .04 mils set aside for capital projects. So that in essence, as Mrs. Kimes pointed out earlier today, everybody in town is paying the same amount of money to connect, regardless of whether it's a grinder system or regardless, or whether it's a gravity system.
Do I have a motion?
That was
I
a
gotta
motion.
come.
You're up.
I would be more apt to take an average rather than get into the .4. The .4 is going to help us later on. You don't want to go into that right now. That's going to help us keep these pipes clean for the projects, and that's where a lot of it's going to come from, is we have maintenance. I wouldn't be, and plus also if anything goes wrong, like what we had to do for Miss Lucas, that's where the .4 is, if adjustments that are necessary. I'm not in a hurry to spend the .4, but I wouldn't mind a cost average. So if you were to cost average across the board, you add up what all the hookups would cost, divided by that many homes, and that would be the cost of the hookup. If something like that were to happen, I'm okay with it. I figured doing that. I don't want to dig into the money that we're putting aside. Like I say, this is a major project, and if we need something or something happens, we have that cushion. We don't have a great amount of reserves, whether we want to believe it or not. I see the reserves. We are the most under-reserved town, and you need this, especially when you're doing $20-some-odd million in projects. You don't want to fall short. And everything that we get, you don't have the unforeseen, and you got to prepare for the unforeseen. And that's why I'm looking to have that cushion. If you want to average it, I'm fine with that. We could take, like I say, you just add them up, divide them by X amount, whatever's in there, and that would be the hookup fee. And I don't think anybody's going to complain.
Okay. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I don't even necessarily, I feel like I don't remember pressing my button. I feel like that might be complicated because if I remember correctly, like the grinder system at points, they were giving different, depending on when you hook up, your cost is different. I don't know how you'd keep track of it. It seems complicated, and I'm comfortable with just the range and how we have it.
Okay, Mr. Fender.
Yeah, I sort of think all connections are not equal. I don't think this is a fairness issue. I think this is an economic and a building issue. And I believe we had an algorithm already set up on what cost would be to connect. The precedent was set in the Norsel's point. I'm not sure that we can live with that. I heard some things today that made me think perhaps we weren't. That's a little bit concerning, I guess. But I would like to stay as close to the Norsel's point model as possible. But certainly, people with larger setbacks are going to have a little bit harder time connecting. There's going to be some idiosyncrasies about each property that's going to affect the building connection. So I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all sort of price, and I feel like the engineers working on it have a pretty good handle on the process at hand. So I'm certainly not for impacting millage rate on it, but I'm happy to hear if Joe has input into this algorithm, but I sort of think that we have a plan in place. I'd like that, and I'm always trying to keep that number as low as possible, as you've already heard me say several times, Joe. So,
Well, first of all, I think we've kind of taken this one step at a time.
Yep.
We just got approval this morning to move forward, and I don't have a problem with what Mr. Tadikis has mentioned or what Mrs. Kimes is talking about, but I thought our next step would be to talk to the county and see, because they've done a number of these already. We have an issue with matching, okay? And I always keep telling you this, I'm trying to keep you out of the sewer business. And once we start paying for a group of people's connection, then remember there's still 251 more lots that we have to work on. And so we may be setting a precedent to pay for their connection fees. So I was trying to figure out, and I don't have an answer yet, and I'm not objecting to Mr. Tadikis's idea. I just don't know yet what that's going to be. Now, I will tell you, one of the items that we do have to accomplish in the next 30 days is to get the interlocal agreement signed. And in that interlocal agreement, we may want to stipulate how this is going to work. So I guess I'm just telling you, I'm not ready to talk about it yet because we have there's a lot of things that we need to still go through with the county. They've been doing a lot of these special assessment programs, and we don't want an assessment. I agree with that. And then we looked at, okay, well, we basically need the grant, because that's our only cash flow coming from the grant, to pay for something, and then we have to get the people, when they do hook up, to pay it back. So where's that money going, and where's it coming from, and can we even do that with the grant dollars, okay? And so that means we need to talk to DEP a little bit about this. So it's not as easy as just kind of coming up with one number is all I'm trying to tell you. There's several people we have to deal with here on this. I think the county could give us some direction. I think the grant agency is going to tell us what we can do. But we need to definitely, Mariah tells us every meeting, we need to be talking about this match. The match is the key to this, and that's why we really do not want, we've got to stay out of the gravity business. We cannot get this match to work with the gravity business unless we can find a way. And that's why we threw in the idea of the lift station fee to see if we can figure out a way to get that to work for us. So again, I don't have an answer for you yet, but as I said, I want one step at a time. We're just not there yet, which we got to get there fast. So maybe Frank can meet with us on a couple occasions, but let's see what we can do before I tell you which direction to go.
Mr. Tittiger.
Oh, I think it's basically an equity issue. I understand where you're coming from. I don't think that the numbers are firmed up yet, and just because they're 2022 numbers. So when you divide the 76 homes through the number that you have in there, it comes up to roughly about 12,000 per lot for a connection. And you had thrown out a number earlier at our earlier meeting of $14,003. And but the issue is is basically equity. And I'm suggesting that if somebody signs up in the first year, and I think you want to encourage that, then what happens is that they get a bigger break, just as the county gives you a bigger break of $7,000 if you sign up with the grinder system in the first year. If you don't sign up in the first year, it's going to cost you $10,000. And we came out with a similar program so that we have an equitable price for all the lot holders in the town of Sewell's Point. And just because you happen to be on a street that has a gravity system, you're not paying more money. And you're paying the same amount as somebody that has a grinder system. We are, as Commissioner Fender reminded me when I came in here tonight, or when he came in here tonight, we're all one town. And so why a bifurcation?
Mr. Fender?
I recall on the north side that we had this opportunity, similar to what Commissioner Campy mentioned today, to spread the cost of that connection over a 10 or 20-year cycle, build into the sewer, the water bill. The reason we're not doing that now is because of this matching scenario? Is that we lost that parameter because of the match?
Well, that's true. We basically, first of all, there's a little couple, I mean, we don't have a deadline to basically give them the match. But I can't have you go down the road and not have enough money coming from the residents that are paying through into the system, which is what they're going to either pay $12,000, $14,000, or $10,000, whatever it comes out to be, and then find out we don't have enough match at the end, and then we have to come out of town coffers to pay for that, because you have to come up with a match. So currently, I understand what you're saying, but I just want to make sure. I think the reason the county gives, and first of all, if the county gives a credit, that's like, that is still part of the match, okay? So right now, I believe they have a grant from the National Estuary Program to give residents a $1,000 credit. So if they were paying $8, they get a $1,000 credit, okay, from a grant that is shared by, it's not just given to Martin County unincorporated, it's given to anybody that's tied into Martin County system. So if that's available, we still get a credit for that. I'm just trying to.
That's for the first year hookup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We still get that. So again, I think I need to, again, I just haven't talked with the county about it to see what options we have, but we really have to figure out, and this is something we do have to figure out. And I agree with you. I love the idea that everybody pays the same thing. I think that's what we're trying to strive for. I just don't know if there's, what avenues we have for that yet. I just don't know it. I don't want to, but we can work on that is what I'm trying to tell you, and that's what we are going to do, so.
Going to go to the town manager this time around.
Also, just for your consideration, we need to realize at which group are we going to spread the cost over. We have 169 that are already in. They already know what the costs are to connect. Is it fair to go back now and say, well, if you didn't connect under the original plan, this is what it's going to cost you? We have 171 that are part of Part 2, which is going to be coming available in the May timeframe of 2026, if not sooner. So do we include them in the average? Obviously, the 134 wouldn't be into existence, I believe, if we...
What did we tell the first group? What is the commitment so far?
The commitment is 8,000 to 12,000, depending on how much you have to put in for your line. The average, I mean, I think is about $9,000 is what they've...
Is there a current algorithm? I mean, the first group has been given?
No, it was
Yes.
just between 8,000 and 12,000 as an average.
No one's paid anything. is what
Hey,
you're saying.
Vinny.
No, they have.
Nobody has. I'm asking you.
That's what I'm trying to answer, okay? You keep asking me questions, I'm trying to give you an answer. Okay, yes, people have connected and have paid, but they pay per their house. So what happens is you want to have the sewer connected. You have the line in front, you got the letter from Martin County Utilities, and they say that as of this date, you're eligible to connect into the sewer system. They set up an appointment, they come out, look at the property, notice the distance, also look at if it's a grinder system, they look at, where the electrical connection is, and they figure all that out, that it's going to cost X number of dollars. We're told the range is $8,000 to $12,000. Now they have a grant that if you connect within 365 days from when that letter comes out, you get $1,000 off. So an 8,000 connection, it'll come 7,000. If you have a large lot, and there's even some lots that have 2 septic systems currently, and so they're paying more. They're probably paying 12,000 to 14,000. But they set that range per property. And as a general rule, it's between 8,000 and 12,000, and then they get the credit tapped on. And I think what Joe's saying is we still get credit even though our residents might only be paying 7,000 for a connection, we still get the credit for 8,000 because the funding is coming from another source other than DEP.
Well, my suggestion is, what you described is how I have understood it to date. And to me, that is an algorithm on how the current calculation is made. Is there a reason why we would deviate from that?
I think the difference is the gravity system is a lot more expensive to provide than a grinder system. And that's why you've probably heard the discussions that the county elsewhere has assessed people for, doing the gravity system or assessed them for doing a vacuum system. And they've assessed them for doing grinders because, they, again, are in the business of providing the service, and the residents of the county have to abide by whatever their commission authorizes Martin County Utilities to do.
Do you yet know the delta? The difference between what the grinders will be versus what the people that have already committed to connecting will be?
The only way we're really going to know what the cost factor is when we go out to bid, which we are going out already. It's posted, and those bids are due in, I think it's the 3rd week in December.
I'm asking for pennies, I'm asking for swag.
So, well, I think that's where you heard the amount of 14,000, roughly. Now, I don't know if that 14,000 figure, what was going into that, where it counted the 171 that's already being constructed.
If you're within $2,000, I'm not sure that it matters all that much. But if you're within $10,000, then that's a problem, right?
Well, that's what we don't want to get to, the 10,000 range. So we are trying to get to, we're hoping it'd be in the 14,000 range. But again, what Bob says, there's a lot more to this than just because we, first of all, the gravity cost, meaning the cost that the grant is paying for, is much more than the grinder, because they're only putting in small lines in the grinder in the road system, yet the gravity, they're putting in bigger lines underground, that's gravity mains. They're putting in lift stations, which they range from 600 to 700,000 alone, okay? And when you say that, that's the money that is coming out of the grant money, okay? And so we're supposed to match that, right? 50-50. And so the cost currently to hook up a household is much less than the 12,000 for a gravity hookup, okay? Because they don't have to put a pump station at the house, right? And then they're just putting a gravity main from the house to the property line. So that's less than all the other stuff that goes into the grinder system. Again, I'm not trying to negotiate this in front of you. I'm just trying to figure out an equal, yeah.
So we have to figure out the new economic reality.
That's right, and so there's a lot to think about on this. And again, do we count it for 171 connections plus the 134,
134,
70.
and the 251, or do we count it? Because, I mean, I don't, again, we're not giving the 251 service now, so we got to forget that, right? But we got to figure out how much this is going to cost, and again, we need the match, and
Like you said, since we are one town, the broader you spread that cost, the less it's going to be for every resident. So, that seems to make some sense.
Correct, and a couple things that you got to realize, we still have to figure out on the gravity system. Okay, right now, the grinder system, the county takes care of all the hookup fees, right? They go there, they pay their $9,000, $10,000, whatever they pay, and do all that. We're not sure yet whether the town has to hire a contractor to do that. The county said we can, I don't think the county has, they have contractors that they work with to do the work that goes on the private lot, okay? So we may have to bid that, okay, separately. So there's a lot of different things that we have to play with on this. I'm all for trying to make sure it's equal. Again, I wasn't thinking the town, which Frank, you brought up right now, I wasn't thinking that the town as a community, the town municipal government was going to pay for this. That's a different take on this, and I'm fine to do that if that's what you choose. I just wasn't thinking about what that number is, because let's be honest about it, you got people in North Sewell's Point that haven't paid for, they paid their $9,000 to $10,000 or $8,000, got their $1,000 credit, and now, they weren't given they paid a different rate, which now you're trying to make them all equal. I don't know what all equal is yet. Am I making myself clear? Because we had 200 units up there that we paid for differently than the 169 than we paid for the 460, whatever, the other 138, 37, whatever. I'm sorry I'm being confusing, but I just don't know the answer to your question yet, and I think we need to think about it, and I'm happy you're thinking about that, Frank. I just don't know the answer yet, and I would like to talk to the county about it. That's all I'm saying.
That's fine, but let me just clarify one thing. I mean, I got a letter from Leo Rapetti, and there was no ifs, ands, or buts, and here's the range. It was, if you hook up before the end of your 12 months, it's $7,000.
For your house.
Yeah.
Right, well, that's a set property, so you know what that amount is. All I'm saying is there's different lots. So there's some houses that are 100 feet off the roadway.
Everybody
Yours isn't.
Everybody that I've talked to, Mr. Daniels, has gotten the same letter. It's $7,000 this year.
Well, then you know better.
And it's $10,000 if you wait. And the issue here that I'm bringing up is that, and I have no idea what they paid in North Sewell's Point. I wasn't really tracking it at that stage of the game. I heard somebody throw out a number of about $6,000, but I may be wrong. But at any rate, we have an equity issue, and I would like this commission to consider the equity issue and how do we smooth it out so that everybody is paying the same rate, at least in South Sewell's Point. And if they were going to hook up tomorrow in North Sewell's Point, I have no idea what the county would be charging them, but that's something we could find out.
Yeah, and just so you know, the county does give Mariah the list of what they charge and so forth, because we have to keep track of the match, okay? The county just has the service, but Mariah has to keep track of the match so we know what to turn in to DEP when we turn in our match request. So I just want you to know, and the numbers have been different, Frank. They're not the same. They're not 7,000. I think there's some that you had 10, and there's some that you've had 8. There's some you've had, so at this point.
Joe, I think we're losing track here. We don't know the amount.
Right.
And, I think if the commissioner wants to accept Leo's letter as being that's the case, when we know differently, that's fine. But we can sit here and debate this all night, and we're not going to get it resolved.
Vice Mayor.
Yes, I just want to say I fundamentally understand the concept of all paying the same. But I'm going to say, when I listen to this talk and how many times we've talked about all of this stuff over and over, and the cost, and it's ever changing, and the fact that we're even able to do this, and the fancy footwork you do with the grants, because I understand the whole concept of it, but I'm constantly getting confused too. I'm very appreciative and thankful that you guys are all doing this work that enable us to do this project for what we're doing it for, and that we can provide this to our residents. So I just want to say thank you, because I consider myself a decently smart person, and I'm always trying to follow, but I really appreciate the matching you do to minimize what the town has to spend, which is the town is the residents, to minimize it. I'm very grateful for all the fancy footwork to make it work. And yes, ideally, everybody would pay the same, but we don't want to just get inefficient to Commissioner Fenner's point, like a difference of 1 to 2, like that's, every system is not the same, and I have a feeling that I have 2 septic tanks. I'm going to be paying more whenever we get it. So yes, every house is different. So I appreciate the sentiment, but I also want to say thank you for making this work. Thank you.
Just one last note. We were lucky to get the 134
Yes.
grinder systems.
Yes.
Okay? So we were fortunate about that. So I'm not that concerned about spreading it out. Right now, we're just going to concentrate on the 134 that we have, and let's see where we go with that. That being said,
Mayor, I just wanted to make one comment also, not about this, but
Make it
another
short, make it
commissioner
short.
comment. It's a commissioner comment, but you can make your comment first. Go ahead,
yeah,
Vin.
that's all right, I'm done. I don't make big comments.
All right. One of the things that was brought up, I promise I'd bring it up in commissioner comments, was, some people have the impression, I'm going to talk highly of Joe Capra. People don't appreciate what he's done for this town for as long as he's been here, and they think he's making millions of dollars out of our I like to use the word ad valorem dollars. You know how much, take a guess how much Joe has made? Well, we know now because the numbers are here. And Joe has made on our ad valorem dollars $47,008.35. And for everything he's done, everything else was paid by grants. And I think he's not perfect. None of us are up here, but I think he's done a wonderful job. When I first came in, I personally would have loved to let go of Joe Capra. I'm not going to lie, it's not a secret. But, Joe and I have gotten to know each other very well since I've become a commissioner, and what he's making overall, when you look at the ad valorem dollars, he's not charging the town. Everything's been paid for by grants, and I think he's done overall a wonderful job. Water's disappearing off the flooded roads, and he's, that one person said he's making like $500,000-$600,000 of our tax money. It's anything but true. $47,008.35, and and 17,000 is probably from over in Mandalay trying to help Ms. Lucas. So,
Mr. Kurzman, it's time for us to move on, please.
yes,
Okay.
that's just, it's
Thank you.
Commissioner comment. That was my comment.
We're not, okay. We need to get to the summary for SB 954.
Right, I supplied that to you because we are going to be a little bit behind the 8 ball in complying with the Senate bill. It involves making procedures available for for allowing residential recovery residents to be processed. So we have to set procedures in an ordinance as part of our comp plan, and there's, I think the criteria, there's like 5 or 6 criteria that's in there that we need to make sure we cover. Doesn't necessarily mean that you have to approve those. Obviously, I think the state is stopped short of taking that power away from us and making those decisions, but again, we know the local powers that you have are restricted by the state legislature. So if that's something that's going to come later, I don't know. But, right now, we need to make sure that our ordinance conforms, so we will have an ordinance that to look at and on the 9th, and if you voted in to approve it and then adopt it in January, we should be okay with the deadline of January 1st, 2026.
Mr. Tisivia, I thought we had an ordinance in place on sober homes when we had that issue with the property up here by Knowles.
We had a vacation rental. I'm not sure if we had specific
I-
sober
I would
home.
look. I think we have
I'll
a
look
sober
back and look
home
at sober
ordinance.
homes. Now, the law in sober homes and keeps changing. There's actually the legislature passed a law this year dealing with recovery residences.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
so they may have, I'll have to look at that.
Yeah, just check that one out. because
Okay.
Hey, Mayor? Sorry, that,
Yes.
that- I remember exactly what you're talking about, and I think we were able to work because we had a limit on additional houses. They wanted separate houses. So I don't know if we have one on recovery places particular,
Yeah, we
but we
might
were
have to
able
reword
to,
it.
yeah. So that's what we, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Daniels, would you mind distributing to the commission a copy of Senate Bill 974?
I will, that's all going to be part of the packet that was going to be for the December 9th meeting, but I'll get it out beforehand.
Thank you.
Mr. Fender.
And hopefully it'll also be clear in the distribution, the specifics of how we treat our permitting on these types of structures or layouts.
Okay?
So we understand the nuance.
We need a good memo of what this really means to explain to us.
Okay.
Is there anything else? Any commissioners?
I have some more comments, if I may. As Joe had mentioned, Mr. Capra had mentioned, we have bids coming in December. Obviously, my big push from here until July 4th is to get everything done that we're committed to doing with the funding from DEP. So my question is this: if we do get stick to the same timetable, are any of you available on December 23rd? And remember, this is 2 days before Christmas, but I know there's travel plans and everything else, but I'm just asking.
I am by phone.
Okay?
I'm here.
I'm going to California, but I don't think I leave till the 24th, but I'm not, I have to verify.
Okay.
I'm here.
Well, if you all can let me know,
Yeah, I'm going to have to check that.
and then, I'll circle back around with, with Glenn and the mayor and the vice mayor, and we'll try to set it up. I'll give you as much notice as I can. I think right now, we have at least the Rio Vista and the Part 2 of the resiliency, the DEP part of the resiliency program. They're both already out on the street. So, and then we have the 134 connections that we got approved today to get a bid process out for those. So, thank you. Just talking about Part 2, the septic to sewer, they are starting into South Sewell's Point Road in the High Point area tomorrow. They finished Island Drive, Island Road, sorry. I knew after I said it, it didn't sound right. And the other issue is, for those of you that are in town, December 7th, that's our holiday party here at Town Hall. So we'd love to have you here. We understand travel plans, again, during the holidays take you elsewhere, but if you have nowhere to be, we'd love to have you here. And that's all I got.
Mr. Titicus.
Just a comment, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Have a wonderful holiday.
You too, Frank.
Okay, happy Thanksgiving. Anything else? Seeing nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second.
No discussion, nothing going on, that's it.